They can't see shit.
Oh.
What?
Hello everyone, welcome back to another sit-down game time with Bella. Today's shooting challenge guest is none other than Team Liquid. Whee! You guys made no noise.
No.
None at all. But hey, we're here to play some games. You're gonna get 3 bullets and you need to take as many bottles down as you can. Who's confident? Who has the best vision?
Nobody can see.
Nobody can, oh no. Here, I present to you. This is gonna be fun.
These are my bad glasses.
Oh,
Watch shortfall. Have you
Yep.
it?
oh, oh no.
Where's that, man?
Ooh. Well,
GG.
good hustle. Oh,
What?
Was he even cocked? Do I get a retry?
no, that was beautiful though. Oh,
This game sucks.
Halo, let's
Go
go.
Halo. Oh, he's got the positioning.
Whoa. Halo, 1 point, let's go.
Shoot guns for a living back home. Nom.
Wow. Oh. Oh, that was great. 2 points.
Yeah.
Whoa, 2
Man.
points.
Take a tie.
It's a
Take a
tie.
tie.
So you
won't
and
take a
Alo
tie.
can decide what Luke and Cowboy has to do.
I don't know if I trust you with it.
What?
What do you want him to do, Ayla?
You can dance.
I think you guys got to slow
Yeah?
dance again.
Oh, Halo.
When you win, just get up and slow dance. Luke, you down?
Here you go, Luke. It's cocked. Just pull the trigger.
You're not down?
Just pull the
Cowboy,
trigger.
are you down? Here's to hoping that we see Luke and Cowboy slow dance, waltzing away. All right, thank you for joining me today. Wave with me. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
AMD touches the lives of billions, powering the technology you use every day. From data centers to your personal device, automotive to automation, curiosity to creativity, business to breathtaking. AI to awe. And we're just getting started. AMD. Together we advance.
Hello everyone, welcome to the interview, and today we are having NAVI and Locarex from Virtus Pro joining us. Let's say hello to the audience.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Hello.
Because you're doing so well in the first half of the season. So let's start with something that everyone is wondering. Because right now, so many people expecting you guys to win all the championships. So will that change the way you approach this tournament?
Nah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's really good for us that everyone thinks we are the best, so that means that all other teams are kind of scared of us.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think we're gonna change anything in our approach. We're just gonna keep playing how we did already.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
You know, why would you change something that works? There's no point of changing something that works. So, yeah, as Lucas said, I think it's good. It's also a good thing, to know that this team is fighting us. They can make more mistakes because they're facing us. You know, so it's a good thing, I would say so.
Is there any secret behind that consistency?
I mean, I would just say just putting in the hours, make sure everyone understands. We just make sure that, for example, when we have a play or something, when we analyze something, that make sure that everyone understands it, and make sure everyone gives input on it, because that's the best way to improve. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just making sure everyone is on the same page. If everyone understands the play, or if everyone understands what they need to do in the exact moment, it's always gonna work.
Who usually brings everyone back to the track?
Luca for sure. I'm the one that brings chaotic brawl. Yeah, so. definitely Luca.
No, I'm like I calm down and then like next is always like chaotic.
Okay. And if someone watched only one VP match, what do you hope they notice about the way your team plays?
I would say how ready we are in the situations. Like, for example, this is our strength, I would say. Like, we don't really miss chances. So when there's chance in front of us that we have a third party, something is free, we are probably the fastest team to realize it. So I would say like just how ready we are as a team on, for example, when zone pops, when someone is fighting, how fast we are to third party or something. I would say that is.
I think what Nick said, but I think also that we're like annoying to play against because we always do like random stuff. We always change things up, so like we're doing a lot of random stuff. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing and thanks for joining us today, and thanks for taking your time, take a chat. Hope you guys can have good luck, best luck in next group stage. See you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, welcome everyone. We're joined by Team NMSS and we have Diffix and Sosit here. Let's like greeting everyone. Hello.
Hello.
What is it like to be in the same team together?
Insane. The feeling is good. It's, definitely like playing with Sosit again is like really cool. Because before in NAVI I didn't actually like to play with Sosit, but right now I enjoy playing with Sosit.
Really? Why?
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
I don't know. Like Sosit was young, and right now he's like older, so he really good.
It's like more experience, right? So what's your opinion?
The same for me. We played with Diffix like in the same team like 2 times. I remember how we was tested in the EU team together, and after that we played in NAVI. That was good experience, and right now we have like a good team and a good have a better experience to play together right now. So.
Who adapted to the new team fastest?
I think me, because I didn't have any problem like adapting anywhere. In any team it was pretty easy like to adapt, so I guess me.
Okay.
Because also like I was playing, I was the last one who joined Team NMSS because like the guys already was playing together, and I joined like last.
Okay, inside the team, who's usually the loudest during matches?
Sosit.
Me.
Right.
Yeah, because like speaking a lot and very loud.
If entire team had to survive a real-life battle royale, who would actually make it to the end? Let's start with Sosit, right?
Not me.
Not you? Why?
That's, I don't know, like too hard.
So who do you think actually make it?
Probably Diffix.
I think I will try to survive.
No. What's the reason?
And I like living, you know. I don't want to die.
When people watch Team NMSS this season, what do you hope to remember about this team?
I think like I actually don't want everyone to like remember us. I mean, I don't wish this like firstly, like it's not important for me. I feel like it's more important for me that like I remember like this team like and this year like a good year, you know.
Okay, and thanks for joining us for today's interview. Bye.
Bye.
For the first time ever, you get next-gen power in gaming earbuds, giving you flawless wireless. That's plug and play. Now you've got 100 plus audio presets at your fingertips. So you can hear bad guys better, hear whatever you want better. That's a giant leap for earbuds and a new way to play for glory.
Hello everyone, we are joined by players from Team Vitality, Queasy and Levante. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with how things have been going recently, because you seem like a little bit tired. How has the team preparation been leading up to this tournament?
Basically because we just played 2 tournaments in a row. I feel like whenever you play tournaments and you go for another tournament, you have a good preparation and good momentum because it's not scrims, it's like the actual games, the officials. So you just you just play one, you just think about the mistakes you had, and then you fly to the next one ready to play. So it's basically, after playing EWC and Astana and having good results there, I think we're in a good shape.
Like during intense games, who usually keeps everyone focused?
Наш капитан Gidrox.
Our captain Gedrox.
Gedrox?
Yeah. I would say Gedrox and Levante, because sometimes if we play the intense game and if he smashes the table, then we need to play better.
Who's usually responsible for keeping the atmosphere relaxed during the practice?
It's a good question.
Good? Okay.
Good and hard question. It's Gidrox.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Our IGL.
Okay.
I think so, the same, but I would add that whenever we have scrims and times like this, it might depend on every player, because sometimes when you scrim like so much, because we scrim like 5-6 days in a week, some of us have like bad mood, yeah, you're right. And like if you're in a bad mood, always someone can like cheer you up. Like for example, if I'm having a bad mood, boys can cheer me up. Like Gedrox might have a bad mood, so we always like try to stick for each other because it's a teamwork game. And like sometimes people getting exhausted of playing. That's why you need teammates for.
Okay. Who's always the last one to say goodnight in team chat?
It's our coach, Ramazan. He's always sleeping.
The top 16 have advanced here today to make a statement that they deserve to go straight to the grand final. The top 8 do. The bottom 8, well, they've got to fight tomorrow with the rest, the best of the rest, if you will, in an effort to survive and make it to the big money and start their journey to domination in the circuit.
Down to the final circle. We've got JDG right on their doorsteps. Who's okay, Fanadol. 6 kills now.
Just runs forward, the crate providing some cover. Lucrux gets the knock on the one. Fanadol gets the counter knock on it. He's just up in their face. Explosions popping around him. They know where he's at. He's gonna go down. It's just Belmoth over at the tree. 1v1. Peeking back between the 2 of them. Fulsen's gonna be walking right into Nixie's positioning. Can he get the shots? Of course he can. VP take the first game of the day.
That's beautiful work by Virtus Pro. Great patience shown.
17, nice rotation. Got the cards. They're going hot at Vitality. They're going to run right into the parking spot. 1, 2, what?
This could be a win for Full Sends. Belmoth and Flash, last 2 players standing, 2 versus 2 now.
Belmoth on his own on the high ground. He gets picked up, but he ducks the shot, comes back up, gets knocked by Lyrics, and now the advantage is firmly with the White Rabbits.
Yeah, you got to talk about it. Like Full Sends, why did they try to take the high ground away? You lost Rushy. Flash is going to deny. And well, you gotta say, E-Arena deserving that win with how they played it. They took the high ground, they held their own. And for Full Sends Toffees, back-to-back second places.
Meanwhile, Vitality pushing Pero from the other side as the Twisted Minds sandwich as he puts a retreat downhill while they have the opportunity. What a mortar from Tianjian.
The poor old E-Arena, the Rock, not going to be the one inside this next circle.
To that Dorito. I cannot believe that E-Arena is able to stay alive this long as that could create a good grenade. Oh, it bounces just out. as now Wembley tries to make the shots through the smoke. Opans, though, he's going to find another one, and NMSS takes advantage of the chaos and gets that big win.
I mean, big smiles on that one. Yeah, keep control over the West. 2 down low, 1 on top.
The 4th match of the day. Gentlemen, enjoy as we get ready to run. No. Now Belmont sitting behind the Dacia looking to make an ambush, but the nade's going to come in first. Move that, or the blue is going to force him off of it as Petrichor spreads out and aggressively pushes.
The Vice is being closed on the other side. Petrichor Road 2. JDG1 cold. Head firing Petrichor Road. Down they fall. And Full Sense take the chicken dinner. Big one for them. And your PGC champions getting the win they deserve.
I'm not even sure Full Sense knew that was coming to the last possible second.
Kiss does get the knock on the Cowboy. Luke, the guy that's been in the anchor position for so long, has to try to hold them back.
Oh, no.
Shots come out. He goes down as well. Alo, the last one up. Tian does go down.
1v1 Alo versus Kiss. Can Kiss pull off the impossible for Made in Thailand here? Team Liquid, he's going to hide behind his fallen teammate. It's not going to matter. Myth will get the win at the end.
We appreciate you choosing to hang out with us. Thank you for spending your day with us. And until we see you tomorrow, play more PUBG.
We got next, we ready to flex, we're ready to rock, headed to the top. We got next, can't settle for less. I'ma need your best, so give it all you got. We got next. Take me to the front line, better get your head right. You ain't gonna take my pride away. Take me to the front line, put me in the limelight. You ain't gonna take my shine away. Take my shine away.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching around the world. Welcome back, my friends. It is time for us to kick off the 5-game series that is the survival stage. My name is Thomas. I'm joined by Porosaurus, Matcham, and Gibson to break down all of the action here for you guys. We get into a very important day of play. Important Matcham because this is your last chance to dance if you want to start getting the run for this circuit
グループステー
championship
ジ
going.
ボトム8とウィナーステージボトム8がファイナルステージ明日2日からの、ファイナルに行けるための残り8枠を争う大会ですね、今日は。
And as every single player will tell you, there's nothing worse than traveling
なんで8位以内に入ればいいっていう戦いだね、今日。順位は関係ない。
And when we look at this lobby, I think that there's going to be a lot of squads that might end up a little mentally broken that nobody was expecting to even be in this bracket.
Yeah, this lobby's crazy, Poro. Let's talk about that, really, because I think this is way more intense than any of these teams expected it to be based on just who ended up in this lobby.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said it yesterday, didn't we? Where it was like, no matter who ended up in this lobby, you were going to have some pretty big surprises, and definitely at the end of the day, there's going to be surprises in that bottom 8 for sure. But yeah, I mean, Twisted Minds, like, what are we doing? Falcons, like, slow starts happen, and you know, bad days happen for the best teams. So we'll see if they can turn things around here. But as you said, it's only 5 games, right? So they don't have a lot of time to kind of turn things around and figure things out. They got to kind of hope that they come out here swinging.
Let's take a look at yesterday's total leaderboard. Just a reminder of how the winners bracket went. As Belmont leads the charge with the rest of his crew up there at 46 points, and it went on down. Now, the cutoff was 8th, and it stayed pretty gosh darn close to that through the entire thing, Gibson.
Yeah, it really did, and I think we were going into that last game thinking that maybe two to three teams were really at risk, and 2 of those teams did drop down. I think Tyloo obviously dropped down into the bottom, and then at the end of the day, I think it was All Gamers Global. And when you speak about it, you were talking about this lobby, like, look at how many international honors we have. We have PNC champions, we've got PGS champions, we got, you know, global champions all taking part in the survival stage today because they just weren't good enough through the groups and through the winners bracket.
But it does swing like that, right?
これ5試合目22じゃないよね28リキッドがそうだよねリキッドが28だから今の4試合目終わりの結果じゃない
at the start of the year, has struggled a bunch of times, and then all of a sudden looked incredible yesterday. So it does seem like the ebb flow, the back and forth is really, really big for a lot of these teams this year.
Yeah, there is something to be said that it feels like there's a lot of modification that's got to be going on this year. Of course, there has been the switch over to TPP. The RDMs are just been about a year now. More and more play that we're starting to see come in. The meta feels like it's constantly kind of shifting, and the players are still trying to establish what's going to be working inside of this new environment. And it's led to a lobby that whenever I look at today, if we looked at 9 months ago, this could have been our grand finals lobby, but instead now it's our survival lobby just because of the nature of the beast on what's going on right now.
You know, and Poro, I think it's interesting when you look at it, because it could be just about any kind of lobby, and there's such big hitters in here. That's got to be really tough news for teams like Sharper Esports or Godlike, who are like, I was really looking forward to getting some reps. Is it good or is it bad that you're going against world champions and dominators, or do you think they'd rather have a little bit of what they were expecting instead?
Oh, bro, it sucks. Like, they don't want to have to go against this crap. Like, I mean, honestly, like, you know, again, there wasn't going to be an easy lobby, right? But I mean,
that's true.
Having to go up against, you know, 3 Korean teams, 3 Vietnamese teams, throw in Twisted Minds, throw in Falcons. I mean, you could even throw anyone's legend. Alpha Gaming just finished second at EWC. Like this is kind of a murderer's row. So it's I think it's going to be very important who comes out starting well, right? Like having that first game. And kind of putting yourself in a good position to kind of build off of that is going to be absolutely huge here. Furthermore, just you don't want to have to dig yourself out of a hole early on. Like that's just going to do horrible things for the mental. It's really, really hard to kind of get yourself in that flow state, right?
It's the triple jeopardy of it, right?
Yep.
Because these teams have qualified to be part of this event based on their performances at PAS and PEC earlier this year. And if you finish in the bottom 8 today, well, you're going straight to the survival stage next week, which means that you might only have 5 more maps. And if that doesn't go your way, you're going home. So your whole international experience was, you know, 1 day of 6 map groups, 2 survival stages, and you've gone home. Teams don't have the ability that, you know, I want to pick out Rock from last year. Remember, Rock went to their first international event, didn't look very good at all, and then came back the next week and were completely different. But because of how short and succinct these days are now, I don't think teams get that same opportunity. It is just you're thrown into the deep end and you either sink or you swim.
But it also seems like Rock's a great case study because they were kind of the first of this new generation of patch and ebb teams, right? Rock was one of 2 things. They flew like a mythical bird, or they sunk like a piece of sediment. And I think that is something that's going across the board with a lot of these teams. This challenge of how do we stay good all the time? And to add to the triple jeopardy that you brought up a second ago, this idea that you don't win today, you go straight to Survivor next week, you lose again, you go straight to Survivor the week after, you don't even get to go home for the week, right? These players are in Shanghai in a hotel with their crew on their 3rd or 4th trip. Like this playing 5 games, or I think there was a team last year last split who played 15 games or something like that. And they were in location Korea for almost a full month to do it. And I talked to them, they were like, it was devastating. It was mentally impossible to come back from by the 3rd week, Poro.
Sure, but look, hey, if you want to have something that you can kind of look towards as a role model, look at Virtus Pro. They missed the first 2 grand finals. Like they were in that position. They missed the first final from PGS 1. They missed the final for PGS 2, and then they turn around and win PGS 3. So you know, there's always hope. It's just you got to figure out what's going on and just make the right calls. You got to keep that positive mindset and not allow yourself to get tilted, because you can always turn things around. That's the good thing about having the 5-game sets.
You can turn around. You can make mistakes. Like you could put up the post game 4 leaderboard and turn things around and go get the final leaderboard from yesterday.
I was going to say, Myth didn't have 4 points.
Right? But you got this is an example of what the hard part of being a player too. It's like saying, okay, we made that mistake. We got to fix it. And then going back and doing it right. So check it out. 17 did come out on top. 47 points, looking very good. And to me, when we talk about 17, one thing that I liked, and I know you were there as well, Match. I think it was PGS 1, like, was it 2 or 3 years ago at this point? 17 was incredible. Watching Lil Ghost play was like a breath of fresh air. And it does, I'm not saying 17 is back to form at the highest level, but it does feel like Lil Ghost in particular and the rest of the team are starting to really put moves together that are significantly scarier than I felt like they were all year.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we look at 17, this is a team that obviously has a pedigree. It's got a history of performance inside of PUBG, but it also did have to do a little bit of roster swaps and changes going on throughout the year, as well as making their modifications. 17 was a kind of a squad that was always involved in a lot of the early game firefights, whether it be hot drops for positioning on those centered positions or having to take just a little bit of a fight right coming out of those positions.
ドンカツ取れれば割と楽だよね、本当に。
Because whenever we do see them manage to make it into the later sections, they go back into
本当に24、25あたり取れば上がれるでしょうみたいな。昨日はまあ、トップ8入れるのも大事だったけど、トップ8でもなんか順位によってファイナルステージでのアドバンテージポイントがあるんじゃないっけな。
meta shifting chaos that seems to be going constantly.
あるあるある。
Because the first day, right, you're looking at 6 maps,
1
different groups. The 2
1 が10ポイント。フルセンス6、イアリーナ5。だから順位ポイントと一緒だね。トップ8もらえる。ドンカツポイント分のリードもらえるっぽいよ、これ。アドバンテージポイントっていうのは。あったんだけど、今日は本当にトップ8に貼るだけでいいっていうところだから。意識は違うかもね。ドンカツ取れれば割と安心で、ドンカツ取ったらあとはもうまばらなキルを取れれば上がれるし。
They're now in the lower bracket. Petrichor Road were right up at the top of the group stage. Now they're on the survival stage. Like it's nuts.
You know, and I appreciate, just like our teams learning from yesterday, Gibson, you were not baited by the stage shot. You learned from yesterday and were prepared for this display of our participating teams.
I've been here before.
They got me real bad yesterday. All right, let's talk about you're right. These teams that are playing are monsters a lot of the ways across the board, Poro. As you look at this, who are you the most interested in watching today? Whether it's because they upset you yesterday or you think this is a great lobby for them, you know, give me some info on these guys.
Honestly, the team that I've got my eyes most squarely plated on is MiTH, right? Like, I don't think anybody's expecting to see them in the survival stage. And they, look, there's a lot of teams here that if they get the ball rolling could start to siphon up points if they have a good day. And that's going to make that cut line super low. I think MiTH has to be one of those teams that you look at right off the bat and say, like, look, if they have a good game one and they start turning that into a good game two, if they do basically what Geeke was able to do on their first day, where they get back-to-back wins and just put themselves in the driver's seat, like, who knows what's going to happen.
Back-to-back wins would be really nice to start the day. As we look at the total point 1 through 8 final stage.
Who can say?
Yeah. Right? Okay, but this is just our... I'm just trying to figure out what that means, but it doesn't matter. I'm interested to see how Godlike does. I think that's one. It's provocative. It gets the people thinking. Godlike matchup. We've watched these guys, man. They've been playing in PAS. They've been playing the circuits for a very long time, and I think we can all agree that what we saw from them on day one, to me at least, did not feel like the Lads.
Well, they were also kind of farming those lobbies in a far easier regional lobby to kind of work your way through. We did see some successes for them in the PGSs as well. But it's an entirely different beast, right? You almost can learn some bad habits whenever you're playing in that style of lobby that then you have to transfer over, and suddenly you're not just capable of fragging out against everybody because you're going against like T1 and MiTH during, I guess, a survival stage, right? So Godlike still has the capabilities to kind of figure out their own pathing through this, because I do think that they underperformed. But the question that I don't know, and I don't think a lot of people know, is are they still good enough to fight their way out of this survival stage? This is going to need to be a real big come up for them. They do have the potential for it, but it is just going to be a hard road for a new squad, especially when you look at the fact that the other new squad, NMSS, finding a lot of success, not playing in here, and that's got to eat at the mental just a little bit more too.
Now, another squad that I've been really interested in, Poro, and partly because we've heard rumors that, you know, Paper Thin was really involved in like watching and loving on this team and believing that they could be the next big thing for third person. And they've had these big ups and downs, but it's T1 to be here in the survival stage with a roster like Ian, Raining, Type, and Heather is actually surprising to me to have that level of pedigree with the current performance.
Yeah, it's hard to find that consistency for them right now. Like they're one of those teams, and there's a couple of teams out there where you're like, look, if things go their way, then they're gonna absolutely run the lobby. But if things don't go their way, I don't know if they got if I got the confidence in them to be able to fight their way out of it. Like Virtus Pro has been in bad positions before, and they still manage to fight their way into better positions, or they get a bunch of points on their way out the door. T1 doesn't seem like they're finding that rhythm. Like I've seen too many times now where they're making a bold send to the middle of the circle, trying to play for something, but they're going in late, they're going in blind, they're going for a position where there's no way they could have scouted it before. They're losing a player as they drive through a gauntlet, and then they get to where they were going, only for it to have already been taken for the past 5 minutes, and they just get wiped. So it feels like they're having some struggles. Kind of figuring out exactly the safest way to play now that the destructible terrain is in. Yeah, there you go. Get hard, buddy. Go. Let's go.
Can I just say quickly too, we saw Twisted Minds there. This is the survival stage. This is where Twisted Minds become that call an ambulance, but not for me team. This is where they really step up their game too. So I'm up for them having a big day today.
Well, I hope that they do, and they need to. With only 5 games to play and a chance to make sure that you go to the finals, have the winner's bracket going forward, and have a wonderful 3 weeks, or lose horribly and start a slide that may be impossible to recover from. This is an incredibly important 5 games where all you have to focus on is making the top 8. To lead us through the start of this journey on the grassy pastures is Porosaurus and Mastro. And Gibson.
Or not. There you go.
I think it's me. A little bit. I got confused there for a second.
Keep them guessing, man. Keep the people guessing. You don't want them to get too comfortable out there. It's too early. You got to keep them looking head on a swivel, guys, out there in Twitch chat world or YouTube chat world. Are we on TikTok? A TikTok chat world? Do they have chats on TikTok? I don't know. I'm a boomer.
I don't know. Don't think I've ever watched anything on TikTok, to be honest. It's not just dog videos, so you're asking the wrong person here. Yeah,
that is honestly fair. I've seen so many Bulldog videos. Like, that is literally like 90% of my instant TikTok is just all dog videos.
Like that one of the one just excited to run up the stairs. That's been my best one of the week.
Oh my god, Butcher? Yeah, that's my boy. Butcher the Bulldog, he's goated. All right, well, so yeah, put your best social media pet follows in the chat so I can come back and I can find stuff to watch. But there you go, right off the bat, the 50-50 circle, Millie or mainland, that is the question I think a lot of people are probably thinking mainland, but Gibson, wouldn't it just be the way that this tournament has gone for that thing to hard shift down to the south on game number 1 of a survival stage?
Oh, you know it. And that's what Twisted Minds are banking on. They've gone to Millie Island early. They're the only team there, and one of the teams that disappointed us a lot sharper, they could set themselves up for a nice little bridge camp if things go their way a little bit later on as well. But we're on board with NAVI, and this is I just don't understand how a team with players like Boostic, like Hakatori, like Fairest are going to the survival stage. Like, there is too much talent there to be down in the depths here.
They're the most APAC European team that there is. Yeah. It just feels like maybe they were watching APAC, trying to gain some forbidden knowledge. But yeah, it definitely feels feast or famine for them right now. But man, when they're on, they're really, really good, and that's what happens when you have fraggers like Boostic and Hakatori on your squad. You just gotta get them in the right position to do their thing, and we've seen it a couple of times, but it just hasn't been consistent so far.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning too, a lot of these teams today didn't even get the opportunity to play yesterday. They had to sit back and watch teams like godlike teams, like of course Sharper Esports, they didn't get the opportunity to play yesterday. They're going to be coming into today. Like, they would have struggled to get scrims during the times games were on as well, because the rest of the teams that are around were basically playing in competition as well. This is tough for them.
Struggle.
Yeah, five maps, Poro. And if you lose, if you don't finish inside the top 8, you go straight to the survival stage next week. So you got to sit and watch everybody else play games again.
That'd be brutal. I don't think anybody wants that. And
そうか、ボトム8今回になったら
again, I think that this
来
first
週
game
の
is
サバイ
going
バ
to
ル
be
ステー
so
ジからスタートな
crucial
んだ。
for a lot of these teams to kind of figure things out. Like if they get, as long as you get a couple of points, you just can't go out with like 2 or less points. Like get 3 or more. That at least gives you something to build off of. It puts you in range of that cut line, but going out early to some like just bad rotation or just getting kind of wrecked by a team that you didn't know was there, none of these teams can afford that, and you can see how cautious they're being.
Yeah, I always feel like the cutoff line's a little bit lower in survival stage as well, because some team always turns up and, you know, Billy Big bosses it, becomes the end game and just gets so many of the points. So I feel like the cutoff line might be that little bit lower, but don't put yourself in that liquid situation. Don't be the team that goes into that last map knowing that you need, what, 15, 16 points just for a sniff of qualifying. Like, you have a really good opportunity in map number 1 to get, you know, 15, 16, 17 or more points and take so much of the pressure off.
I mean, shoot, look at MiTH.
Yeah.
MiTH won the last game with like 12 kills, and they still didn't qualify because they'd only gotten 4 points in the 4 games before that. So, you know, as long as you kind of keep your head above water, you know, as much as you can, as best you can. And obviously that's way easier said than done, especially in a lobby this stacked. But that's definitely got to be top of mind for all these guys. We see Falcons coming from that Stalber loot location. That's an interesting one. Like, we talk about how they're chasing circles and they're just kind of like not really getting any kind of good fortune go their way so far. Hadn't turned the corner just yet through this one.
Yeah, I still like they've given up a lot of their primary drop spots at the start of this year. Now I know that there was some congestion for some of the spots that they have gone in and they chased some of those teams away, but I feel like they just can't get. Obviously, this is an outsider looking in. I don't know the ins and outs of how it's going on inside. I just feel like their timings are not great. You know, they're not as comfortable playing some of these positions they find themselves in. Like, if they were still in Pachinki like they always would have dropped, they would have been down where Supers are now, or on top of Potch Hills and posting themselves up. But instead, they find themselves having to rotate down that eastern coast, running into teams like anyone's legend, and getting more aggressive on the edge in phase 1 or 2. Whereas we know Falcons are a team that historically they fought around the edges in phase 3 and 4.
Well, this is, I mean, it's the ugly truth about PUBG in 2026, right? Like, this is not just a Falcons problem. It's for everybody. Like, you're doing your best to keep your head above water and wait for yourself to get that little bit of circle luck in the late game and kind of capitalize that on as best you can. And that's the boat that everybody's in right now. Now, some teams are having a little bit more a better time because they're just fighting for better positions and coming out on top, like Virtus Pro. I mean, MiTH has been in that situation before as well. But yeah, some teams are kind of struggling with it right now. And as Falcons try to make their way into the zone, you want to take a listen in? You want to?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's hear what they're talking about as they come in here from that eastern side.
Yeah. All the cars are still here. We can just put up a gas station in front of them, guys. I think you're beating them. We just do that with me right now?
So?
Yeah, I don't see any of them. Like, just pull up on our gas station, bitch.
I don't see anything in Sharkfin either. I heard you though coming.
Yeah.
Can I anchor it or like have an offline somewhere?
I think you should have Sharkfin. I think you should stay in.
If we don't have someone Sharkfin, our tires are going.
Driving in Gustav, just to keep
I'm gonna check for the Sharkfin.
Popping in Malta.
Head.
Shark?
They should be closer.
I kind of want to try to get the bulls across the street because they could get
ここがサメのヒレ
Yeah, sure.
確かに見たい
is here.
Yeah. You know what, Poro? Little observations, right? All the cars here are untouched, so by just getting that bit of information, they know it's clear. They spot out that they've kind of leapfrogged anyone's legend now, and they can set themselves up to camp them. Now, the big problem is, do they know Solalzi is very close to Gustav and Kick on the other side of that road?
I think they got to assume, right? You can see Gustav is Keeping eyes over in that direction. They also were keeping oh, Newman. Looks like he's gonna get a little bit too close to the expendables, so Supers not a good way to start off for them as they have the rest of the squad up on the hills, but Gewin getting a little bit low down there. Maybe didn't spot out those other two from the expendables. And yeah, Falcons also saw that E pickup, so I think they may have been thinking maybe it's a full team, but that's actually just Delwyn, and the rest of Anyone's Legend was the team that they were shooting at, so all the same team. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Spaceman, doing the flip. Go ahead.
You know what? You timed your oh my goodness with a zone shift as well. The circle shifted back towards Millie Island.
my God.
Just a fraction of Fairy Pier. Well, all of Fairy Pier, but a fraction of that bit of land is being encompassed. But Twisted Minds going straight on, and Genji going right through Tyloo. Houseker's going to be the first one to fall as D stays so strong. A second onto one Dragon as finally the real D is standing up. They pushed in on that E pickup, and they've picked up a bunch of points. That's more like it, Genji.
That's nice. Yeah, hold that E pickup. That is huge for them if they can catch that. And Sharper has made their way across the bridge. It looks like Navi has sent it over in a boat. Keeping one eye on Falcons too. Remember, they were taking shots towards Anyone's Legend. They were holding that eastern side just in case something like this did happen, that they might be able to come over here and take this bridge. And they will pick off Baron. So Myth now in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Falcons should be pushing across this bridge as soon as possible now as well. Don't let Myth set themselves up to camp you on your rotate in. So confirm the kill onto Baron, get across that bridge, and try get into the rush. Maybe park yourself up in those compounds just on the edge of Millie Island, a little bit towards the east of where Twisted Minds have set themselves up.
I don't understand why, but Gen G did not take that E pickup. I don't know if they got pressed off of it or not, but now they're stuck on that northern side. We'll see what they do here. Sharper, they were the first team over the bridge, but T1 is coming right in the midst of them. They'll get a couple of trades. Zapalui is down. Meanwhile, the landing on the beach. Oh no, the Expendables getting held off by Twisted Minds, who's still holding that 2-2 split.
Yeah, T1 eliminated. They're deleted by Sharper Esports, who have a much better start to today. Twisted Minds putting the pressure onto the Expendables. Remember, it was Twisted Minds that ruined the Expendables' chances yesterday in that final map of qualifying through to the winners, or through to the weekend as well. So they've got themselves a like, Paul, look how hyper-aggressive the 2-2 split is. Yeah.
I mean, I understand why Twisted did this, right? That it's very aggressive, but it's also really, really risky. But it's going to pay off for him, and a big part of the reason it's going to pay off is that Gen G didn't take that E pickup. That top of the mountain that's currently being held down by Example and Lou would have looked like prime real estate had that come through, but Twisted able to hold this line for the time being. Meanwhile, 4 a.m., they see Anyone's Legend, who apparently had 2 E pickups. Delwyn already over on the island. The rest of the boys now going to try to hop up here. We'll see if Winda actually takes any shots at this.
Yeah, that Doghouse Hill that they're on is one of my favorite compounds to hold Twisted Minds, because they've got basically, like, yes, the land ratio is not what it used to be. You know, we can't really guarantee that we're going to continue circling up on them, but it just gives them the high ground on the circle. Meanwhile, going through the trenches right now, you've got a Supers, you've got Vitality, everyone's trying to kind of force their way in. And I think teams like Tyloo and Supers might just try to get as many kills this side of the water as they can before they even think about crossing that bridge.
There you go. The circle will cut back over to the mainland. And now, all the teams that just fought their way between each other on the north side, they're still going to have to make their way over here, as we see Anyone's Legend Chopper kind of pulling in. You see Falcons starting to make their way in from the south side. Looks like they've managed to hold on to everybody, I think. I don't see Tig just yet, but they do have all 4 bars over there on that leaderboard, so maybe a little bit behind here is, oh no.
Yeah. Oh, Dan, that wasn't great for them. They lose one. APG, one man down. Shen, who has final bossed a few times for this team over the course of the last few months. He's got himself the rock, he's got the high ground, but the problem for him is, I would like to see someone else at 4 a.m. push up, and that, yeah, that's
APG はだいぶ飲まれてるね。
He confirms out that kill. 4 a.m. can now start working their way towards the zone.
Yeah, I like this for 4 a.m. though. They realize the situation. They know it's kind of, in quotes, a salvage game, right? Like they loot all the way off in the northeast. They knew they were gonna, their plan was to just kind of hang around the periphery, eat a little blue zone damage, see if they can maybe catch a couple of people out. And they managed to pick up 2 points off of Alpha. Now Gen G, we see them doing the diggy hole. Once again, a big player so far this week. But you see the 2 members from Alpha up there. Gen G's gonna have to keep their heads ducked down here.
Yeah, Looking at the whole, I'm going to go out on a limb
Wait,
and say
it's
that
addicted
they
on
used
the
a
whole,
grenade first, and then they've been digging around the extremities of it. If not,
I think it was red zone, actually.
Yeah, if not, they've been at it a long
Oh,
time.
that's a nice way to get across.
The BRDM is this its
style.
natural? Is it its natural habitat, or is it just like one of those animals that's comfortable on both?
Get up on there like a beached whale.
That's like
You'll
me
love
at
to
the
see.
beach.
Yeah, it's moving about the same speed as I am.
さすがに
But,
壊れるほ
looks
どの
like
ダメ
that's
ージを
actually
食
just
らわないと。
well, Thunders is making a bold effort for Shark.
いやでも
He's
だい
the
だ
one
いぶ
person
だいぶ食らって
shooting
んだ。
at that PRDM. We'll see if it actually forces Vitality away. As Super's now still moving around on the bridge. They're getting pestered here by NAVI. And 4 a.m. has now made their way on the north side of the bridge. Winda and Spaceman kind of looking over in that direction and trying to figure out what their next step is going to be.
And that what BRDM stands for: boats, roads, drives, and mows. Right?
There you go.
Yeah. In case
Mows,
anyone ever
huh?
wanted to know.
DNS スーパーズの後
Well, I
ろ
have
に
seen
増え
it
見る
mow,
か
I
ら
have
ね。
seen it mow a few people down. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly.
Well, we did get to see Falcons say they did. They've got 3 on the bot side. They've got Kickstart in a compound. They're actually looking pretty good here. Is Tycon going to take down I-26V6? Chewy going to go down as well as Petrichor Road is kind of getting picked apart here. I think that might have been off an E pickup. Or no, that wasn't from an E pickup. Never mind. Disregard everything I'm saying. I think Petrichor Road is just trying to find somewhere to play, and they are just driving around like chickens with their heads cut off. They run into Godlike. Now they're running into AGAL, and that is a 50% playable C3. That is brutal.
Yeah, look at Twisted Minds. They gambled the house on 2 great compounds, and all of a sudden, they're not even.
They're so nice.
Yeah, Sharper needed to. They've got that one compound, Gen G. They're on the other side, but I'm looking at Falcons, right? Can Falcons get up on this hill and maybe get some shots down onto the teams elsewhere and create a little bit of space? Godlike got to move as well. 4 Angry Men might be okay just playing in the water around the bridge. Like, look where HSM is.
Just hang out on the island. Why not? Take your time. Ty Lue kind of in the same boat. Well, maybe not in a boat. I don't know. They're on the south side of Ferry Pier. Meanwhile, Twisted, they have to make a send. They go for it. The open field there. Godlike going to hop everybody into the vehicle, but they're going to run right into the waiting arms of Falcons. A lot of damage come through. Knocks haven't come out.
Eagle じゃない?
Yet, only one.
Oh my
God.
god.
Tig finds Fana, finds Tony. And now Falcons down to just 1 left alive here for Godlike. Let's see if they can take out Haven.
Yeah, this is not great for Godlike at all, but it's really good for Falcons, who need to increase their performance over what we saw yesterday. Yeah.
Oh no. Good work on Alpha though.
It's not stealing, it's taking advantage. They knew, they saw the fight, they took advantage of it.
Oh, absolutely. And oh, okay. I guess that kills him. All right, Haven is down, Godlike is down. That's 14 teams eliminated now. Falcons will at least manage to secure that second point for themselves, as they still have to fight their way in from the South Tiggerlands on the mortar, though.
So I have a question for you. You know the way the game has to end on land? Like, that's really the only rule that we have now. Is there a world where this could finish on HSM or Tyloo over on the pier?
There's definitely a world. Oh goodness. Okay, Shen. There's definitely a world. I don't think it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen for these guys.
Either do I, but it could.
Where are we shooting here, Tig? What do we got eyes on? Is it Alpha? That might be Alpha. Yeah, they're aiming kind of around that shed. But Alpha, you see there, dug in. Simon T and Tycon have those off angles. They are down to 2. The Falcons being really careful about how they approach this. They definitely spotted them before they came down here. So Tig will hop out of the vehicle before the grenade hits. Kickstart. They've got one pinned out. That's going to be a good grenade. Gets him low, but doesn't get the knock. Kickstart's going to go down to a grenade from Tycon, but Tig will take down Simon T.
そうだよね。外側から攻めるの。
He got caught out trying to run into some cover, leaving Gustav and Shrimsy the only 2
そっちの方が好きだよね。プレイスタイル的に。
Can they regroup? They've created somewhere to play, but are they going to be alive to play it? The trees, the branches provide some security for Falcons. Shrimsy, you got to be Hemsy this time to keep your side alive.
That is so tough to dig him out of that. I mean, he's got the trench dug on the opposite side of the rock. Yeah, blue zone grenade's about the only thing you can do. Good work there by Shrimsy. Tiggleton, we'll see if they get rezzed. Doesn't look like he will. Maybe he will. I think they're sticking him right now. Yeah. Oh, Tig's going to go down to the blue. Tycon will at least retreat back to the shed, but they don't have that same cover he had around that rock.
It's a 3v1 now, though. You can't let I know Tycon has the cover and he's got Peeker's advantage, but you cannot, if you're Falcons, afford to lose this fight to Tycon. You got to get your day going right.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he should do. Slowing it down, throwing the smokes. He's still got another grenade left, because of course he does. Why wouldn't he? Nicely cooked, but it's going to sail a little bit too wide. Tycon will hop out. Flash is going to get dropped. He's going to blind himself just a little bit. Continues to play right around the edge of the smoke. Falcons being very careful about this one. Gustav will spot him out. He's going to go down to Tycon in the drop shot. And Tycon's going to flush him out. So Falcons do take him out in the end, but they suffer the consequences for it, down to just 2.
No, Tycon did the right thing there, though. He got that kill confirmed, the extra point, and he stole a few kills from Falcons away earlier. So even though he didn't get a squad wipe, you could still argue he stole 4, he got 4 points off of Falcons in that game. They're rotating their way in. Can they make a better job of landing on the coastline than what we saw a little bit earlier from the Expendables? Well, the answer, at least for now, is no. Kong's going to go down and she get flushed out by Vitality.
There's just nowhere for Lee to go. Yep, Myth will take that one away, and Tai Lu will get dispatched. Myth now holding Navi at the bridge, and Windows around there as well. So for him, will go down. It's going to be Myth Kiss that takes it away. Of course, it's going to be Kiss that takes it away, isn't it? Well, Navi now have to fight their way in. They've spotted out Scappy, who's all by himself at the top of the hill, but the blue zone has arrived, so time is limited.
Yeah, Hakatori, he's moving along that ridgeline now. You can see it's a lot of open terrain in front of Navi and the high ground being held by Scappy. So this is a dangerous position for the European side to be in. So they want to deal with Scappy first. That's why Hakatori's staying in there. But I said you got to deal with Scappy. He hits the headshot. That kill will get confirmed. Navi will eventually trade it back. But Scappy's done the damage. Navi will be 2 players up for now. And I think they might lose another because they ain't catching that zone.
Ferris going to go down and get taken away there by Kiss. That's 5 kills now. And yes, Spiro's just going to have to heal through blue and hope for the best. They've at least managed to make it to placement points, but looks like Navi's game is pretty much done for here. As you see Deal also kind of looking over in that direction. Falcons, meanwhile, they have that high ground. They're able to dig themselves in a little bit, but Mines has sent Example up here. You can see him being very careful about how he wants to approach this. TWIS is still inside that compound, waiting to see where the next circle takes us. And it is going to go on the coast again. Oh my goodness, this has just been a brutal game 1 circles.
Yeah, that bunker that's being held by Vitality is so strong now. Sharper's position, it might be a little bit under more of a threat with the likes of Gen G probably thinking about pushing that direction. Falcons might move that way as well. But I'm curious as to what Twisted Minds do. There is a little ridgeline, if I'm not wrong, just inside the circle around this corner that they might just park themselves up to play. Yeah,
not a bad shot. They'll be able to keep it here. They want to try to keep those vehicles up if they can. Deal's going to spot out Kiss, though. Deal, solo player for Supers here. He's going to collect a few more points for him. That Famus working really, really nicely for him right now, as he will stop down, try to heal up his armor. Playing from that eastern side. He's not too far outside his zone right now. But Jacob is on the beach, and he is camped in.
Yeah, got a UAS for cover on one side, a shield for cover on the other, so it's not necessarily the worst position to be in, but the issue is that FAMAS in the hands of Deal. They really need Gen G to start flowing their way down and pick up that kill and give an extra point to Myth from this situation on, and I think that's what Gen G are doing. They know that Deal's solo, they know that he's here, push this way and try clear him out.
Yeah, I don't even think there was any better option for him either here. Oh no, Lou. Go down to the blue. I'm sure what happened there, but yeah, this is, Gen G just had to avoid Sharper. Able to free fire shots into the smoke, and already going to take down D. Let's see if Gen G, I think they're just trying to get into grenade range for a Deal, and yep, that'll bounce. Actually, somehow Deal doesn't take that much damage from that one, but a few more grenades come through. They're going to sail a little bit wide. Oh, the truck almost takes him down, but Deal, he's going to find Soul. No, Jacob going to take that one away. Deal will at least steal it. He's going to find Bean as well, and Gen G gets wiped.
Yeah, the dealer always wins. That's what happens for Supers there in that fight. He picks up 2 more points and gets himself back over to that crate, and he's got a DBS now. I don't know what the dirty big shotgun's going to do for him. Shrimsy will just try to stay alive for that little bit longer, but it's phase 7. And I don't, like, maybe Myth or Supers might fall to give him a chance, but I just don't see how
落ちる
Falcons
チ
eke out
ーム
any
い
more
なさ
points
そうだ
here.
な。
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all he could do, right? Sharper had just free reign on that. They could just take shots over, so he's just going to heal as much as he can. Deal now. Still looking over towards Jacob. Jacob perfectly content to just lay low for the time being as we see down to bandies and
おー、いや、先に落ちた。
down to nothing. And there goes Falcons. Not a bad start, all things considered.
先に落ちてくれた
4
ね。
kills and a top 5 placement. Actually, top 6. Did they get top 5? Actually, I think. I think Myth got taken out before they did.
I've got good news and bad news for you.
What's that?
If you're a Falcons fan, good news, they got one more point than they got in game number 1 yesterday. Bad news, they didn't get much more over the course of the rest of the day.
I mean, look, man, 7 points off of this circle when you looted in Stallberg. I'll take that all day long. I will take that. We'll deal all by himself. I don't think anybody's going to be too concerned about him for the foreseeable future. So let's see if he can actually pull off some magic here for Supers. Meanwhile, now Twisted Minds are in trouble as Sharper still just gets free range to play around these roofs. Vitality, they're not interested in hard peeking anybody. You can see them just lying prone, waiting and hoping that Sharper will maybe take out Twisted before Twisted gets to them.
Yeah, I'm looking at this kind of Final Four too, and I think that Supers are hoping that Deal can do something similar to what JDG did at the very first game yesterday. 1 player left alive, managing to get in to that top 3, top 2. Twisted Minds, Blue Zone at their back now, they've managed to force their way up to this first rock. Can they front up on this bunker? You know how difficult these bunkers can be to push from the beach, and the problem is really Vitality. It's Deal on this off angle with the mini is going to be Twisted Mind's real problem for that push into Vitality.
I mean, he's going to be a huge problem because he can actually take shots at this and not have to worry about getting shot back at from Sharper because they just don't have an angle on it. So Batu's going to be the one that creeps in first, tries to get close enough to that Vitality position. I'm not sure what Twisted is sitting on in terms of offensive utility at this point, but they've got to have something if Batu's making that push. And yep, we see grenades already being sent in return from Vitality. They are going to sail a little bit wide. So Batu playing up close. See if he's got him picked out. Nice grenade from Batu. Will take down Hello My Bad.
Yeah, the Blues only doing some damage. Thanawat stopping Deal from getting third partying on this fight. So everything kind of falling in favor of Twisted Minds now as they make this push. 1 player left for Vitality inside the bunker, inside the trench. Can he stand tall? 2 Blues only. It's thrown back this way. That'll hold Twisted Minds for just a little bit. Example, falling back. Batu taking damage as well. And now Deal's got the off angle. Thanawat can't stop him this time, but Twisted Minds still keeping the 3 bodies alive.
You look at Sharper. I mean, 5 kills right now.
おー、いや、美味しいんじゃないこれ。
Exactly what's going on. There you go, Levante will get taken out by Deal. So another point picked up there by Supers, and now Thanawat going to send the present of the coup with the C4, but it's not going to be timed right, and it will not affect Twisted at all. But Deal's still a problem here.
それであなた
Biggest
作
problem
ら
for
れた
everybody
ん
right
じゃ
now
な
is
い
Twisted has their hands on that P90, and we see what that thing is capable of doing. Turns the tide of any fight in the late game, and it's in the hand of Perfectix, which is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, it wasn't even the timing. I think it was the pole. There's a couple of poles in the edge of that bunker, and that stopped the coup from getting in there, and that would have taken down one of the players. That would have got Perfectix, and then Sharper would have flooded their way in. Sharper on 10 points so far. 11 for DNS, though, as Deal has been able to put a ton of work in as he picks up that shield and tries to close that gap a little bit more inside the zone. But you gotta say it, Sharper looking so much better today than what they looked on day 1.
What a difference getting a compound in a weird circle makes, huh?
In the middle.
Yeah, dead center. Well, look, hey, we've seen what Sharper's capable of doing in those tie qualifiers. They were absolutely dominant. And if they get a little bit of momentum going in their favor, maybe they'll find a little bit of that magic once again.
めっちゃダイエルのこと見てるな。
But they still got to finish this thing off, and there's a trio of Twisted Minds players that have revenge on their mind for their performance these past couple of days. They did not expect themselves to be here. They are not happy to be here. You saw Batu, just the frustration at times kind of overwhelming them at the end, but This is not a team to take lightly as Deal will prep that grenade. I think
こ
he's
の
just
タイミン
probably
グで
prepping
欲
the
しい
spot
よ
for
ね
the play, maybe?
C4
Yeah, there's that
he's
rock.
waiting.
That rock just ahead of Deal is
でも
available
バイ
to
タ
be
リティ
played
も
if
もろも
you
ろ
can get there.
バイタリティの
The
ポイントも
question
もろもろ
is,
取れ
is
るって考
there
えた
is
ら
there a line of sight for
まあ
Thanawat on
確かに
top of the ridge
あの
line
タイミングでいい
that
の
will
か
spot Deal in that position? They are distracted
ワ
right
ン
now
チャン
by
5
what's
ポイント
going
もらえ
on
る
by
から
Twisted
ね
Minds. That smoke will reveal
まあ陣
Deal's
ポイント含めた
position.
ら7ポイ
A
ントか
quad of nades being tossed towards Twisted Minds now. A couple of
ご
them
いす
caught
ご
the
いすごい
tree.
ボレ
This
ボ
one
レボレ
bounces and Thanawat gets himself one. Is
1枚
that
だ
the
け
go
か
signal now for Sharper?
あ
Yes,
まあ
it is.
あるある
It
え
has to be.
C4 ある
You
よ
have to capitalize off of that. It wasn't C4, but now you've got it laid down. They've put the smokes down immediately. Thunder is at least trying to get a little bit better position. That's a great Molotov. Is actually going to stick it, and look at the damage coming
ダメ
through
だ
on
ね
both of them.
う
They're
わい
gonna
い火炎
go
瓶だ
down,
な
and now all of a sudden twisted down to one player. So the utility usage from Sharper absolutely ideal. But Deal's going to go down to the blue. Twisted Minds will get second, and Sharper
わ
gets the first win
閉じ
of
切
the
ったね
day.
まあなんか
Yeah, big turnaround in fortunes for this side. They were the brunt of a huge
まあまあ
loss, I
勝つよ
think,
ね
on
って感じ
day
はした
number one of groups, but this is
正
a
直
much better performance. Yes,
グレ
they
とか
got
全然
center
使ってないから
circle. Yes, they had the strongest compound in the zone, but they still chose their timing perfectly. And how good was that nade that was thrown that allowed them to open up that fight, Toffees?
It was a
C4
good
で締めて
nade.
ほし
I
か
mean,
った
I
な
was really hoping Deal was going to pull that off.
Yeah.
Like he, little ghillie suit on the rock and the smoke out there. Maybe let him know he was around. But no, they played it well. Twisted Minds had a great compound though, Poor. I mean, they went there in the first. I think it was second circle they headed over there. Okay, yeah, they dropped and went straight out to that spot. They held the split. It was really, really nice, and I think that was like the easiest win of their life if the shift had just stayed slightly to the left.
I mean, that's the brutality of the whole situation. Is that those late game shifts, especially now when you just can't really predict anything that's going to happen. Nothing is working the way it used to. But I mean, look, I think Twisted's still going to be happy with it. You know, they would have loved to have been able to win that fight at the end, but they were in a really, really tough spot. Sharper, obviously, in the best position to get that win, and they did exactly what they should do.
So that crash that we just saw in the highlights, Tai Lu was preparing the E pickup, and that was Gen G that showed up and decided they wanted it instead. Is that how that
They
crash
didn't take
worked?
it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really weird to me.
So basically, they just saw a balloon and were like, "Points, let's go after it."
Yep.
Love that. I love that. I love that attitude.
I mean, whenever we
Okay.
look at it, I don't blame anybody for it because, like, we can talk about like all the teams and whatnot, but it feels like, in all honesty, this was the Circle is the villain game without a doubt. And I saw Circle 1 and I was like, oh, that's terrible. I saw Circle 4 and I was like, wow, that's even worse. Then we got to Circle 6 and I was like, okay, this is just one of the worst coastline games we have seen, and it just led to things like the Gen G push, right? You just at a certain point you're like, okay, well, I might not make it into the circle, so it's just time to murder everybody on the side. And it meant that we were coming into like Circle 6 with 18 alive just because everybody was having to fight so much earlier. It's brutal.
Well, let's talk Sharper. All right, let's talk Sharper because Sharper finished the group stages in last place with 15 points. They come out here in game number 1 and put 18 up on the start of the day. I mean, at Gibson, that's the definition of a turnaround.
Yeah, it is, and it puts them in such a good position now. They've got 4 maps left. You know, 10, 11 more points would be perfect for them over 4
そう
games.
4試合って考えると
Sharper
短
can
い
do
な
it. All they gotta do is be patient and be smart.
18ポイント
Don't try to force anything.
も
But
う大手かかって
as
る
I said, they were the brunt of jokes on the first day because they just weren't good enough compared to the level we know they can get to. This was a lot better, and hopefully they can continue that momentum on.
Exactly. It's nice to see them playing a sharper
25
game.
ポイントが仕切りラインだったから25ポイントあたり
This was a weird
もうすぐ
game in general.
TWIS マインズの11ポイントでかい
to
バルカン
start
ズ7
us
ポイント
off,
でかい
and then 4, 5, and I believe
ベリンタイ
6
ランド
were
7ポイン
all
トでかい
slides towards water.
ディームスーパーズダイエルだけでだいぶ稼いだよね
Yeah, it's brutal. Like I mean, I think it was Matt that said it. The primary antagonist of this first game was the Circle, and Sharper actually comes out on top. So you know, credit to him and credit to Thanawat. The 5 kills, not too shabby, and cleaning up Twisted as quickly and easily as they did was obviously that was the whole game for them essentially.
Yeah. And Twisted, like you said, really good spot out of the gate. I'm also impressed with how many points Soup was able to get out of that one despite the situation they found themselves in after the bridge, after coming across the bridge. So a lot of salvage. That said, I think that creates a really tough, good job for the man of the match to Thanawa. I think that creates a really tough situation, Matt, when game 1 of 5 is a salvage game for most of the players and most of the teams on the map. Is that keep it fairer in the race, or is that disaster for a lot of these teams as we start out?
4試合いや5試合かな
今
日5試合今のが1試合目だから残り4試合
is that Sharper won because anybody that was having to go for a salvage game, Sharper taking the victory means the fact that every single one of these teams feels that they can overcome whatever Sharper managed to generate here because statistically Sharper will have still a little bit of a problem with those last few points to qualify, right? Is they can kind of fall off. They did a great job in this round. I'm not arguing that. But they still are going to need to find consistency in firefight after this, and I think that a lot of the other teams are going to feel that Sharper taking this victory with Twisted Minds, another squad that a lot of people had expectations to qualify for, means that there's still a lot more points on the table than would have been if, say, I don't know, looking down the line, let's say Falcons or the Expendables, a couple of these squads that haven't necessarily been performing at top level this event so far.
You know, I like you were both honest and polite in that. I see where you're going with, do you want me to be nice? Because Sharper, your point is, like, if there's a team that gets points that it's nice for everybody else, it's Sharper, because you can just crush them later on, theoretically. I get where you're coming from 100%. Twisted Minds getting points is huge. Falcons, they didn't survive so good, Poro, but I feel like the decisions they made and the fights they took were encouraging. They seemed like they were very proactive in that match.
今まで昨日とは違う戦い方してたよね、ファルコンズ。もう中じゃなくて、外から。もうちょっとうまくできたとは思うんだけど、そのファイト自体は。でもトライは、
fighting their way in from that northern side, and that was because they stuck around on that north side, try to salvage some kills off of the last few trailing players that were making their way over, fighting their way through the blue. So, yeah, I don't think anybody should be too terribly upset about that performance from Falcons.
I also think when we look at that, we talked at the start of the day, Gibson, about the teams that we expected to be here and not be here, and so on and so forth. And despite that being a crazy circle, for the most part, it seems that the teams that we expected to be at the top, or that we were shocked to see them at the bottom, teams like Twisted Minds and Made in Thailand, who have been playing so well at past events, are showing up, right? So it's nice, I think, to see these guys are actually still here playing the game.
Yeah, it is. Look, those kind of teams we spoke about, like NAVI, Twisted Minds. Like Twisted Minds, they got the drop, right? They had a really strong 2-2 split. We were like, this is going to be a great map for them. The circle kept shifting away, but they were still alive inside the top two. Falcons salvaged a bunch of points off a game that you thought they mightn't have been able to. And then Navi as well. Like, they were able to have a pretty good game, and the blue was kind of their nemesis, going back to that point Matt was making. But it is important that those teams that have the bigger names, the bigger followings, do turn up today. Because there's a reason why people in chat hate on these teams. It's because they're good. And if these teams don't start playing that way, chat's going to pick on somebody else, and I think these players like being the team that chat goes against sometimes. So let's see these teams continue to play at the level we know they can.
One of my favorite quotes is, haters make me famous. When you talk about me, you're still talking about me. And some of the teams feel that way. Now let's look at somebody who everyone's been talking about. 4am had a pretty good match, and a lot of success has been put at the feet of Winda. Let's an interview with him right now.
Hello everyone, we have Wind from 4am with us. Let's say hello to the audience.
Hello, I'm 4am Wind.
Oh, good. It's like a crazy circle. What was going on in your mind while being stuck on the river? 就是你们被刷走那个圈形的时候，心里在想什么？
海に取り残された
当时那个圈形被刷走了之后，心里想的就是换
感想？
因为那种圈对于我们
跳外层
对我来说，
まあその試合、この試合どうでしたか？
Prepared for trading kills because it's really a tough circle. And next is about what will be the biggest focus for the next match. 下一場比賽你們更想專注在哪些方面？就是做哪些準備？
團隊的配合上面以及個人的操作上面。
Yeah, we will focus on our teamwork, and for myself, I want to make my details better. And the third question is about any message for the fans who are cheering you on. 有沒有想對支持你的粉絲說的話？
感謝大家的支持吧，然後請大家繼續支持我，謝謝大家。
Thanks for everyone's support. All about thanks. And that's all for the interview. Thanks for that. Hope to see you next game. Bye.
Bye.
直せるとこがあるんだったらどこでしょうかっていうのはコミュニケーション。
Significant. I like where our interviews have gone throughout this PGS, and we're at a point where one of the coolest parts I think of having him there is that we're getting to know these Chinese players a little bit better. Having Winda come out, he looked like a lovable, wonderful fella. I'd love to hang out with him sometime, and apparently goes by Wid. But I guess I gotta dismiss you guys. The interview meant the game has started, so we're gonna send Poro and Gibson out to take a rest, and me and Matt are gonna stay here as the Dusty Dunes kicks off. And Matchroom, this is a very important game because of how did I say it? Messed up the last game was. Difficult to play. Those circles were. A nice middle circle here would make a lot of these teams happy.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to continue talking about and making, I guess, allusions to what F1, right? It was like you try to see a whole bunch of teams take that first turn and suddenly everybody's slamming into each other. So now everybody's getting a little bit of a reset, see how this is going to come out. Tyloo's going to be pretty close to Jinji and Los Leones, but that's going to be fine. I think most people are going to have separation. I kind of wanted to go back to the point you were talking about with China, and it feels like we are starting to get to know some. Well, actually, I thought that this was going to be more separated out. It's not really. Jinji is setting up pretty defensively around this.
Yeah, they squared them off, so it's interesting. It's almost like they think Tylo is either cheap points or they want to make sure that they just don't come into their zone. I mean, Los Leones is big enough that this should be shareable, right? Like, sharing is caring, boys. And I assume that this fight will slow down as they'll both go to loot. It just feels like maybe Genji did a little paperwork and was like, I think if we drop some guys here, we might get a free air kill. And once that doesn't happen, I would expect we go back to good old-fashioned looting.
Okay, so I kind of want to go back to what you were talking about with Yinxi. We do get Chinese interviews a lot, but that was like the first one in a while. I don't know if it's just Winda, and Winda is just like really good on camera, but you saw the fact that like a lot of times like the Chinese players aren't like making eye contact with the camera or just kind of giving you the rote answer of, oh, we'll just continue doing whatever. Oh, we don't really care about what the other teams are doing. You know, like the standard PUBG answers. This was like smiles and eye contact with the camera. Winda, please, more. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was insights to him, and instead of saying the politically correct answers, it was like, I just want to make my team better. But I was genuine, and I really appreciated that. So, and I appreciate seeing that, especially from a player who has been coming into his own lately. Over the last couple of events, Winda continues to show up in our highlight reels. He continues to show up on our stat leads, and you get the feeling that he will be one of those players that as the Chinese region evolves, it's going to evolve around him. He reminds me a lot of like when Hackatory first came out, right? This idea that like he was showing up for interviews for the first time, be a little bit nervous, but pretty honest, and is a generational talent that you can build regional PUBG around, and I do think Winda seems like that may be the future for him. As we take a look back at the highlights, keep in mind, this is the last game. Just a reminder of what happened that you saw about 5 to 8 minutes ago, in case you forgot about these grenades.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I'll kind of give you guys an update with the way the circle popped over into the west. People are going to start doing their rotates, so we're not missing anything too dramatic right now. But yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool to see more Chinese personality coming out, because anybody that's actually watched PUBG for a while knows the Chinese players have way more personality than we put in the interviews. Like there is always the time whenever Akeleft jumped on Shrimzy's stream, right? Whenever everybody was doing this, like what, 2 years ago. So all of the players actually get along pretty well, even like cross-regionally and stuff like that. So it's give us more of the personality out. As I think that we're back over with Sharper. Yep, this is going to be down in Valdemar. They're going to be down into the southern section of the circle. We do have that western section of it that's kind of locked down, but it looks like the center is going to be around Brickyard that Vitality's got on hold.
Is this real? Are we back in the real game? The desert gives it away.
Dirty again, so yeah.
Here we go. There we go. Aw, that was underwhelming.
That was all you missed, guys. You can see the replay didn't necessarily hurt you, but it is kind of fun to get a replay into a replay. Looking out, rotations are coming in. We got Tyloo coming in from the, looks like it's going to be south, going along coastal, so probably going to be looking at one of the compounds just to the east of Valdemar. And Toffees, you were kind of, this is the old MPL circle. We talked about this a lot back in the day, and I think that you were one of them that kind of coined the conversation around the big verticality that happens and how like all these hills are islands.
I hate driving to this area, especially if you're going horizontally, right? Like the flow of this map is deeply vertical. Even after all the changes, like everything in this section is about going south-north and north-south. And as you saw, Navi flipping cars just trying to make their way across this debacle. And it's one of those things, like if you can make it to actually where Sharper is right now, those hills off to the left just north of Valdemar, it has such a good chance of converting into high points if they get a shift in their favor, all the way up to Monte Nuevo. And if it goes that way, it just becomes such a nasty cluster that's impossible to push up to. But yeah, this is one of those sections of the map where if you don't have the spot already, you really have to consider how does terrain play into my ability to viably make these rotations, because I have always been shocked at how wide the sight ranges are for anyone who's got high ground here.
I'm a bit nervous for Sharper in the way that they're playing this. A full 4-man split down into the south. They've moved into the hills where you can kind of see the SP markers. They've got ones onto the west and one onto the east. A lot of times when people have to make the push onto these hills, it's just a commitment push.
It is.
So a solo isn't going to scare somebody away whenever you're already up on top of these hills and there's only 2 buildings that you have to pick from. You're just going to crash that one building because you don't have any other options.
I will say if you
see these being the focal point.
Yeah, but if you play it right, and I'm hoping Sharper will do this, you are putting those solos at high points. So you take a couple of shots, and if the team doesn't swerve off and continues with the full commit, that solo should have an escape plan, right? Because they're so high up, like it's easy to jump on a bike or a car and zip out the back to one of your other teammates who's holding a different ridge line. So I think that's the only way to play it, is you need to have full visual of how do you approach this high ground. But all of those crashes, like watch Petro right here. Like imagine your Petrichor looking at that high ground. Like they see you coming from miles away and they can already pop a few shots. If Petrichor chooses to push, they just fade backwards. If that is played correctly, we'll see if Sharper manages this area very well, because Petrichor is pushing on them. We jump over to Alpha. They had a decent start, 6 points in the last game, and now again taking shots from that high ground, those high positions on this part of the map. You're not getting tons of kills off of it, but you're controlling the flow of the map. You can force Alpha to stop down or possibly even move towards where you know other opponents are, so it's not your problem anymore.
Quick update on that Sharper situation. Looks like they are starting to regroup in more of a 2-2 kind of 3-1 style situation on both sides. Jedi is going to be the guy that's playing to the west, and I don't think that with Godlike's approach he's going to have too many more options except for just trying to take those bot shots. Vitality, like you're talking about, very wide 2-2 split across Brickyard, but a little bit of control between the two of them, not necessarily focal positions. Like when we see these are very good buildings locations, but often whenever we get the circle, it feels like it pulls more south, where Monte Nuevo is just right on the edge of the zone. So with it being more centered, this is a very strong split to have some control, but again, also have to be very careful about crashes because most of the teams are going to be coming in more from the north. We haven't seen the commitment on the island hillsides yet, just because there is still enough space to play in that northwestern area, or northeastern area, sorry.
I agree. It's also one of those things where you just know that up on that left side, up where the unplayable is all the way over to the south road out of Monte Nuevo, there's only about 6 spots that you can truly manage without more teams, without getting completely torn apart or having no vision. So the east side of the map is going to get incredibly congested coming out of Chumacera. And as the circle pops towards Brickyard, that hill line we talked about just south of Monte Nuevo is going to become very important. Sharper immediately mounts up. They're going to fall back to Jedi's position. Probably not use the zip line, but they could if they wanted to. And they're going to go over there and be able to hold the south side. Petrichor is the ones who made the right play. Early on, they sort of pushed SP back to get that spot. They do have to be careful, though, as there's going to be a lot of folks coming in from the east looking for fast real estate. Look at that. It is like the Great Migration. If Atterbury was here, he'd be like, watch as the PUBG Majestic player fires from the high ground, trying to maintain control over his territory.
Yeah, I even see a couple of stop-offs down to the south. Looks like Supers were trying to go for something. Levante still using the high ground, trying to keep some control on what's going on with this Alpha rotate into Monte Nuevo. I think the Expendables are going to spot that out. They're going to be playing more to the north. That's going to put them in line along where 4 Angry Men are at. And this is, again, Supers and Tyloo down in south. Valdemar just kind of bumped into each other. No real good reason to fight just quite yet. So Tyloo's going to go to the west. Supers are going to go to the east. Genji's also pushing Hillside back behind NAVI. And Tyloo...
I want to double down on what you said, Matt. There's no good reason to fight in Valdemar, ever, okay? Ever. Just if you find yourself entering a fight in Valdemar, it's not worth doing. It's like fighting a 2-front war. Never take a 2-front war. Always just get out of Valdemar.
Yeah, unless the circle just pops on top of it, you just got to get out of there, man. Like the
I still won't go in.
So much
I'll go in the blue and die. Keep me out of that city.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh over there. Sandstorm's going to be over to the northwest. Myth's going to be trying to use that to get into the circle. Sharper still pretty centered up in there now. 2-2 has their fortification play. They do have some encroachers down to the south, and to the east of them is going to be NAVI. not easy sight lines to go for peeks onto that. It's more control over into the west is what Sharper's going to be going for. Anyone's Legend's just going to be the north of them. And here's MiTH now trying to stretch in as while we do have a Miramar circle over here, remember that it is kind of like what we were seeing in the last game with the coastlines and everything like that, because there's a no man's land along the wall to the west that's eating up a lot of space, and a lot of teams are just trying to cluster next to it for some safety because they haven't had a chance to scout things out over here and just kind of using the wall as an idea to know that nobody can like sneak up back behind them. And Tyloo, I mean, he's still just dealing with supers.
Anyone who's ever been a rat in an extraction game knows you just put your back to the wall when you have no other information. And that's what these guys are doing right now. You see Team Vitality taking a couple of shots from the high ground. They're relatively comfortable with their spot at the moment, as everyone has found real estate. And now this is a waiting game as the next circle shrinks, because everyone should be mounted a minute early. Have your next transition planned, because right now most teams have a spot to hold, but the next shrink is going to be absolutely brutal.
So looking at this, the north is going to be kind of the Badlands. It's going to be more open fields. You can see just west of Monte Nuevo. A lot of people are hoping it doesn't go that way. If it goes down to the south, we'll still have the verticality in play. Keeps in a little bit of both, so we keep that smidgen of the fields up to the north. We still keep sectioning the wall into the west, and we still keep the hillside down into the east. So Death Funnel is going to be up to the northwest, where Falcons are trying to regroup. Then we're also going to have Alpha approach over the
This circle stinks, man. This is exactly the same as the last one. It just keeps sliding closer and closer to the quote-unquote beach and the unplayable territory. There's no world where I thought our teams cowering by the ridge will be moving into a winning position off of that shift, and yet here we stand as Gustav puts some work onto Petrichor. They've moved up here early on, Petro, to try to find the high ground, and they just were not prepared for the accuracy of Falcons from the lower area.
This is a great position to farm kills. There's going to be a lot of pathing that's going to go on specifically to the north and the west, and while MiTH is playing a position that's kind of countered around it, it's kind of forced everybody to look into Petrichor, who's in a bit more of a vulnerable position. Twisted Minds, they're going to have to brute force their way into the circle yet again. It's going to be Vitality high ground in front of them, and looks like Vitality's already got a pretty good read on the approach. I don't know if they know exactly the Twisted's there. Yep, now they do. Hello, my bad. You're going to go ahead and hit those shots, and Twisted and low ground, I guess, regrouping. Again, just you have to fight your way in. There's no good other option in this circle.
No. There's a tough moment for the Professor here as Lou tries to figure out how to defend against this. His teammates are on the low ground, so he doesn't have a ton of support up here. All three are down below, but I don't think Lou can even sort of extract himself from the situation without exposing his back to this push.
T1 long route. Looks like they're thinking coastline. The Expendables are thinking the same thing just ahead of them, though. So the Expendables are trying to push right into MiTH's position. Nowhere else to go. So send it. Try to get yourself this defensive position. MiTH not actually capable of jumping in vehicles and getting away because the shots coming up from the Falcons. They want to try to get away from this as GTE, I think, didn't realize that there was going to be somebody already in that point. They're going to retreat. And Falcons actually started taking shots more at the Expendables and opens up a bit of a MiTH rotate.
Oh no, Sharper is under attack. They've been here for so long. They're holding the zipline position. And here Gen G just comes up with zero cares. They're like, all right, this is our spot now. And just pushes into him. Immediately you see Sharper collapse and pull back. And now Navi has actually been able to make it up the ridgeline during that engagement as well. So Sharper has become a significantly more tenuous position over the last 2 minutes.
T1, where are you going? There's not a lot of real estate left, and you're just pushing along the road. There's a couple of dips maybe you can stop at, but it's going to be punishable. We do know that you can just kind of dig in certain areas, maybe trying to get along this hillside, but it's already under a little bit of duress. Just stopping that point, that's not going to work too well. Super's got too much vision over there. Now just crawling and using the ruined truck for cover. That's a bad sign.
That was like that was like Armageddon is in the offing. I'm gonna take a nice road trip just before it happens. And now you just stopped out hoping for the best. Meanwhile, Boostic with the sprays knocks Patulin. Very clean, nice play by him. And Twisted Minds is getting. They had the low ground and they are just getting hit from above as Navi and Vitality are pinching it.
Yeah, the East is about to just be an absolute catastrophe for teams. Vitality, Twisted, like you're talking about, on top of each other. Navi and a little bit of a gatekeep, but also having to move forward. Gen G is gonna have to regroup just to the south. Sharper on their defense, you can see, just hasn't been able to hold back the onslaught of teams that are coming on this pathing. So anyone's Legend going to be the gatekeepers out of all of this. A fortified and entrenched anyone's Legend going to have about 3, maybe even 4 teams walking right into their path is terrifying. So expect all of these squads over here into the east to just try to destroy each other, find points.
because there's nowhere else to go. So lots of war there. Over on the other side, as the shrink again continues towards the ridgeline, I was not expecting Soup's defensive early position to become a really good, aggressive late game spot, but so it is, and so it shall be. Anyone's Legend also in a great spot. And Twisted Minds and Navi, I think it's just about maximizing points out here. And it should be 3 teams-ish fighting for one possible high ground location that likely loses the shift anyway.
Twisted just fighting on every single front. As Lil is taking shots over at 4 Angry Men. The other players were closer to Navi and a little bit of vitality. What's going on over there? Again, what we're talking about. This is just get whatever kill you can get because you know you're about to walk into a death trap somewhere. So Twisted just trying to start to stack it. 0 kills right now. But the issue is they're already down to 2, and they're gonna have to walk right into Navi's already defended point. They're just playing this one slow as well.
Yeah, they had to sacrifice Lou. He couldn't get back with the team, so he went off to try to find some points. And now you got Example trying to move uphill towards Navi. Not the team that you want to push on your own, as they've got the big boys up on top looking down. Example does go for that smoke spray, but now he's inside of the blue, so time is against him as he goes around to the right side. Maybe grab a med pack or something of the sort. 4AM Spaceman is going to go down and get knocked outside, I believe, in the blue up there. Boostic finally gets that flush on Batulin. An Example is going to heal, but like, I don't know how you get yourself out of this, man. There's not much you can do.
Yeah, I think he's just hoping that somebody else like might die beforehand, but nobody's really been. There's only been 1 squad eliminated so far. Everybody's doing enough to just try to survive. So tries to get the meds, goes for the shot, doesn't get the knock, but I don't know. He's done enough. The blue zone coming in really quick is going to make that problematic.
Yeah, that's actually wild. This is like, I know I'm going to die. Oh, he did it!
Oh my!
What a monster!
Oh, and also getting hit on the other side of this one. Navi in a lot of trouble now. GG spotting out exactly where they're going to be trying to get from, and Perfectix Example both odd out, different sections of the map, just kind of trapped. 4 Angry Men kind of in a similar situation is now Blue Zone going to be right on top of Vitality. Where do we go next? Is nothing's going to be too good. That's going to be right on the field side, or the hillside, I'm sorry. So Sharper goes to get that.
Let's see that queued up here as Ferris and Navi now can turn their attention to the next move, which is going to be dealing with Gen.G. Gen.G drives on by. Bean actually gets knocked on the fly, will go down, gets flushed by Ferris for some free points. Twisted Minds finally eliminated elsewhere, as Example has been slowly trying to make his way in, but Vitality's actually coming here on the Navi position potentially, as they heard about that third party.
Okay, that means that the new firefight could be against Vitality and Gen.G. A couple of shots already going between them. To the north, Falcons need to go through Petrichor Road to even touch the circle, where the remnants of T1 and Anyone's Legend are also going to be trying to fly for. To the northwest, we've got Myth getting pretty much shot by everybody that moves over into the northwest. Is going to be Falcons taking shots at them, as well as Godlike. Godlike's going to have to deal with supers and a gatekeeping position. So pretty much the way to look at it is Anyone's Legend to the northeast, gatekeeping. To the northwest, it's going to be supers, and then we've got kind of Sharper holding back whatever's going on in the west, while Vitality and Gen.G are just going to have to scrap.
Come on, Falcons. They got to save Himsy. Falcons came from a lower position. They've been kind of worked their way uphill towards Petrichor for a very long minute here, as they've used everything from emergency covers to the cars to try to make it up this mountain. Petrichor holding them aggressively still, but the real issue is that Myth in the offing has been picking them off as they try to go up. So they do see Myth send it forward. Tiggleton is in a position to pop a grenade and toss it down there. He saw the car stop, so he knows where they are. The grenade looks good. Bounce, boom! Tiggleton gets a knock on Scappy. Second nade goes for the follow-up, and Big Tig making the plays. The nades, the booms, the bops, and now that's 2 down. Falcons able to hold their right flank against that Myth push.
Oh, that ridgeline was everything that Myth wanted to try to get away from. Now it's going to be Falcons just swooping down on top of them. The issue is Godlike and Supers are still going to be over here. No clean, easy sight lines. Just trying to see if they can find any kills on this. Rolls right in. Kickstart's going to be trying to find somebody in the smokes. But there's too many cars stacked over here. There's too much wreckage. Baron survives for longer than I think Falcons were expecting. They still have to get in the circle, but they've been entirely revealed. And Supers are now just taking pot shots at them all over the place.
But they drove in there. Kickstart angry, and they make the play at least. They were mad. Myth came in from the right side. They came down and said, all right, we'll do what we have to and make some clear out, get some points on the board. Godlike stacked up desperately. They also went to the road, but their road run not going quite as cleanly as the Falcons did. Petrichor is like, all right, we'll keep this fight going. And Falcons moving over here is a fascinating choice, Matt, because it's not a win condition necessarily, but it puts them in a chance to get a lot of points and pick up a bunch of things off of these fights.
I mean, I'm not used to seeing the Roadrunners getting this demolished. The Coyotes on the outside are just finding everything right now. Falcons, no path into the circle. It is just absolutely brutal over here as the new circle pops, moves into an even more open section of the circle. The hillside's going to have to be eliminated, but a couple of shots coming up from Shrimsy. At least get the knock on Haven as he's going to be limping his way forward. There is just nothing to be had over here as now Falcons going to have to deal with Petrichor Road on a side flank, and Super's going to have to deal with a much closer situation. And Godlike, while Tai Lu's got the compound and control over pretty much this whole circle.
Wow. Godlike goes down, Soup moves forward. Falcons are eliminated off of a very bold play.
nice
they were able to put some kills, a decent amount, 4 on the board as they continue to grind up towards that top 8 positions, which is what matters most. Petrichor, knowing that Falcons is dead, now has a little more freedom to try to make their way to the circle, but the circle moved away, which means that Tai Lu, good lord, save us all, Tai Lu is in the domination position.
いやでも見てる感じ、意図はめっちゃ意志は感じる、そのポイントを取ろうっていうしょうがないファイトばっかり。
Just walks in, takes down Thunders, finding more and more success on this push, but they're going to be moving into a very open section of the circle afterwards, and they know it. Gen G is just waiting outside of this with 2 of their players. Soul's already inside the circle, going to be the gatekeeper. Jedi, the last one up for Sharper, realizes there is nowhere to go.
Honestly, Genji's strategy in this game has just been backfilling Sharper and taking fights that add like the leftovers after people start to survive. And so they're up on the high ground again. They're watching Sharper down on this compound. A little edge of it is in, but Vitality wants it. So they go around the back. Nice little move here. Earth knows he's there. Double barrel to the face. And now he switches back around. Goes to try to find the push Vitality. Nice spray on the window. Almost gets the headshot. Heads up to the high ground. Jedi healing, and now both on the top floor. Hard to defend. You got to hope there's no utility on the opposing team.
Smokes down in the lower section to see if they can stall out anything, but Quizzy doesn't even care. Shotty is coming up. Levante gonna also get a piece of it. So Quizzy, Levante finish the fight, but now have to get into the circle. Gen G, they didn't waste any time. They used the distraction of what was going on over there with Sharper to jump right into the circle. So they're defending up pretty much the center point alongside of Tai Lu. Petrichor Road's gonna go down. Anyone's Legend now fighting in from the north. New threat that's gonna be close range is gonna be Supers, but Supers playing the ridge down next to the road for the time being. Trying to find some safety as now they are the most western team, but I don't know where these mortars are going. Is it going to be anyone's Legend? Is it Supers, or is it just to cut a hole for somebody to hide in?
You never know these days. I think it's just cutting a hole to move forward potentially, as you do see this coming out from Levante. He's trying to drop him before the blue comes in. And he was Legend, who just had a trap set for Petrichor, is now in fighting with Soup, as Soup used that chance to try to come in on a third party. It's not a place you want to be. Anyone's Legend is on a shack that means almost nothing. They have a P90, but with those blue zone grenades, they have to jump out and go into the open. So they're worried about being exposed. Heaven gets a nice cooked grenade back up and running. Human's able to go ahead and finish off Delwyn with the blue, and they're pushing them out of that shack and into the open.
Oh man, Vitality was just hoping the fact that anyone's Legend was distracted by the Supers, but nope, not enough. Instead, it's just going to be picked apart, too many directions on it. Vitality didn't have too many options except for just use that one chance that was presented in the firefight with Supers, and now Gen G's going to have control over the south. Tai Lu finally has to leave their compound, but anyone's Legend starting to come alive over into the north against an 8-kill Super.
Yeah, well, you gotta let the soup cook, man. And that is what they are doing. They are, you know, last game we saw Deal. Even with a recovery game, was still, I think, able to get like 6 points on the board. And now here they are with 8 and a decent spot on the circle from slowly working in from the outside position. Meanwhile, Gen G fighting for their life on the top of the hill, but the push is coming. Tai Lu says, not today. Up over the top, we've got a Panzer, we've got a Gilly, and now we got 2 kills.
All right, Kong Hog, that is crazy. That was Gen G high ground fortified position. Tai Lu pushes it, and very clean on top of that. Gets distance away from Supers. So now it's going to be anyone's Legends and Supers still stacked up next to each other, but Tai Lu found a way to at least get into the circle and kind of a fortification that other people had already set up for him. This is going to be pretty good, but they still need to move a couple more meters forward into the circle, so the high ground not going to necessarily be as strong as it's going to start being a bit more of the recessed hillside instead.
I like that Soup is doing this spread all the way to the south side. They have a flanker out there to make sure that Tai Lu can't rotate in their direction to the left side. Their goal is to try to push them up the hill and away, so maybe they tangle up with anyone's Legend before they become a true problem from them. I do also like this idea of moving into the compound. They know Tai Lu is in to try to put a backfill up on the bottom of that hill. You can see him doing a little sprint right now, hoping to get a surprise attack. Cumin, Ninja.
play the timings on it. Tyloo does manage to get a little bit lower down. So they're going to be able to play on that side for it. So the thing about this is, if this firefight breaks out the way that it's kind of stacking right now, anyone's legend can go for it. Human does get that one. Here we go. Does he go for more?
Nice play there. The ninja attacks, comes straight up over the top, gets the flush, throws the grenade out. He snuck up when no one was expecting it, gets the one dragon flush, and now he's going to zip back, use the cars for cover, and here comes the rest of the squad. The cavalry has arrived, and it's accompanied by the hubris of grenades as they throw plenty of utility, open the charge, and now Tyloo is left with Lee just barely hanging on.
And he's just got to retreat. Anyone's legend not playing this aggressively because they lost track of where the supers have gone, but supers are just stacked up on top of Tyloo. They want to finish this fast. Couple of shots are going to come out from Halsker, but gonna get the knock on Guman, the guy that started this all. 7 kills for Guman, 12 for supers. And eyes back on to Anyone's Legend as Anyone's Legend's Destroy finally gets in the circle, realizing that he can play that hillside. Supers in control over tons of the circle. They now have multiple ridges to play, and Anyone's Legend in a lot of trouble, but they still have high mass.
You ordered soup? Well, it has been delivered. As these guys come up over the top of the hill, that was a textbook play on how to get rid of Tyloo and open the door to the master control of this map. There's nothing they can get behind them right now. They have a really good spot, and they've just got Anyone's Legend hunkered down and hoping for the best. Remember, AL was just in that shack, got pushed out, and have nothing to work with.
This is going to be kind of a slow down pacing. It feels like Supers does have a couple of paths that they can use to try to get center control. The most obvious path already being kind of defended by Destroy. They've got to read on pretty much the easiest approach that the Supers are going to go for, and they do have themselves a nice weapon to try to hold that back. IMS is going to be kind of holding closer to that center dot, but it's going to have to go for a bit of a profile up on top of the hill whenever he does. Of course, Supers having the man advantage does mean the fact that they assault this more western side and pathing, even if that unloads on them, they should be able to get at least a knock back onto it and put it down to just MS. It's a matter of how much work Anyone's Legend can put, and a lot of it's going to come down to Destroy. It feels like Destroy's going to have to be the intro on it. He's already been read. Just look at all the utility coming out on top of Anyone's Legend, and this is just full-on damage control. Nothing to be done. Supers just have dominance in this game.
Mollies really are this new meta growth. We'll talk about that at the break. This idea that you can use it without helping your opponents. Big spray from the high ground. Soup goes up with the car. They make the big push. Destroy's got a P90, but he is overwhelmed. He is outbalanced. The car pushes him out of the smoke. It was an assist play. He drove through the smoke so that he'd have to be bounced backwards or walk out and die. Gets killed. The Soup is killing it. And, gentlemen, as we bring back Porosaurus and Gibson, essentially qualified for the final.
Yeah, that wasn't an appetizer. That was a main course from Supers that time, and I'm all about it, man.
Paul, what'd you think of the game?
What I think of the game? I thought it was it's a fun Miramar game, wasn't it? It's one of those ones where there's circle shifts that kind of everybody leaves everybody fighting for that high ground, and honestly, Supers, like, I don't know how they managed to avoid all that nonsense over there on the west. Like they were patient. They put themselves in good position. Like, they managed to capitalize off of Godlike. They waited out Falcons. They waited out Pero. Like, they looked really, really in control the whole second half of this game, essentially.
I think that was key. Is they found a good spot on the side. They waited it out, and the longer they simmered, the better they were. As they come up, that backstab onto Tyloo was absolutely gorgeous, Gibson. Sending the flanker around to get that sort of sneak attack from Guman was really what opened the door for them to get the win.
Yeah, are you saying that Soup's sometimes better the next day? Because it seems to be that way for them, and they made a lot of good decisions that game. What I said. That was one of them, right? Where you send somebody off, you bait the information, you get the kills elsewhere. This is a team where we don't see that enough from them. I think we need to see more of it. That was a much better performance. And I think for even Korea as a whole, I think this whole event, we've not seen the best from a lot of these Korean teams. So it's nice to see Supers get a win early on in day number 2, and hopefully they can keep it going, because I think the final lobby at the weekend would be better if Supers are in it.
let's talk Falcons for a second, Poro. They went up the hill towards Petrichor. They got a knock. They got hit from the right side. And then they made a play with, I believe Choppy from chat described as a play with some chest hair, as they took that risk and went down to the street and then kind of got caught up down there and dismantled. Do you like that? This idea? I agree with that. I think that it has. The Falcons seem to be playing more aggression forward lately. Do you think that's working for them?
I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? It's when you talk about is it actually working, but I mean you can definitely see what the plan is, right? Like they realized the situation they were in coming down from that northern side. They had to chase a circle. Everything that was worth playing or good to play for late game was already taken. So they saw an opportunity to go for points on mid.
あれは今回のファルコンズはペロがまさか詰めてくることを予想できなかったから奥側に全部スモーク投げてたけど自分たちのところにも欲しかった感じかな。まあスモークが足りなかったね。しょうがないとしか言いようがない。
Salvage game. Get as many points as you can. Just don't go out with zero.
Just asking a question. Anybody have any wild idea?
Could be anybody, really.
But yeah, I want to kind of add to Poro's point, right? You were talking about like Falcons pushing for points on the road. That was very different than what T1 did. It was different than what GodL and MiTH did. Like, MiTH tried to get to the road to play the Valley, which was the wrong thing to do. Whereas Falcons were like, yeah, we got a couple knocks. We're going to go down there and get those kills. Because we might get more points trying to get these 3-4 kills than if we play on the hill and just get picked apart as we try to work our way into the circle. So I think out of all the teams that played for the road, they did it the right way. And yeah, there's surprise. There's your man of the match. 8 kills, 9 knocks, 1200 damage. Like, do we need to talk anymore about that? But like, look at the white bar. You know, the one that goes to tell you for damage. It almost goes off the chart behind his shoulder.
Damage bar taller than he is.
Yeah. I was gonna say, he played big in that game, and that backstab. That was a beautiful action to open the door for everybody to sort of make the plays from Super. They had a tough go. I mean, honestly, when they circled in Poro from the north side, had to like shore up underneath the cliff edge. That was a risky play because the chances of getting the shifts that they did that sort of worked out for them was hyper low, but I wouldn't say that this was I caught circles. It was I had to fight my way forward every time that shift sort of started to move in that direction.
Yeah, it almost felt like that they were playing a salvage game before they even knew it was a salvage game, and then they just end up getting some circle favor, and were able to capitalize on that. Once they were in position, 35 points, they're pretty much guaranteed for finals now. So that's scary.
Tセットワインズのポイントの取り方なんかねちっこいな。
They so please.
Hashtag qualified. But more importantly,
シャーパーは寄ったが上にドンカツでこのポイントだけど
it is a one game jump into second place.
ファルコンズは地道に上げてる。
It is still wide open, and a big part of that, Gibson, is the fact that the points have been so distributed up towards the top.
してたけど集合がうまくいかなかった。
What we're gonna do is actually heard an interview is ready, so we're gonna jump over right now to see who Jinxie caught up with.
Hello everyone. It's great to have Quizzy here again. Let's say hello to the audience.
Hello.
Yeah, let's start the interview. The first question is, what's your biggest challenge today? Because it's a survival stage. What's your challenge?
I think it's just qualifying, I guess. But as we are used to qualify for the survival stage, I don't think it's gonna be new to us. Just play good, get the points, and get to the finals.
Alright, love your confidence. And what's and you answered the second question, so I'm just gonna skip. The third is about which team have impressed you most so far?
どのチームが一番印象に残りましたか?
Probably 17 yesterday, because they just got the first place and they're always consistent on every tournament, and they're always a good opponent to play against. And it's just fun because we are friends as well as the teams, so it's always pretty fun to watch them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the last question is about what's one word that describes your team today?
I would say passion, because we love the game, we love to compete, and even though we're playing a lot of tournaments right now, we still love to do it, and it's always about the passion, even if you're a little bit tired, but whenever you're in the game, you don't feel it.
Passion brings motivation, and we will see your motivation in next games. That's all for the interview. Bye.
Bye.
Passion brings motivation, but I'd say they have a passion for fashion, as I love the way they wear the jacket. Last time we were in Shanghai in the same studio, it's not lost on me that all of the players were wearing the half-slung jacket because it must get pretty cold in there while they are operating. Now, we are going to be operating for a little while longer, and it is about to get very cold out there with only 3 games left to play. After this short break, we'll be back when it is truly go time for everyone who's not currently in first. Don't go anywhere.
We all chase that one more game. With Lenovo Legion, it's always within reach.
Congratulations on advancing the winner stage, and we're having Haktori and Ferris from NAVI with us, and our interpreter. Thank you. Congratulations. This yesterday, like in the group stage, NAVI once again showed why you're the one of the strongest team in PUBG history. And the first question is for Haktori. What are you most satisfied with?
Більш задоволений тим, що ті висновки, які ми робили до цього на минулих турнірах, спрацювали, і це допомогло нам пройти у наступну стадію.
And next one is for Ferris. Like from your perspective, what do you think the team did especially well, and what do you think anything's not?
Нічого особливого не було. Просто в своїх іграх допускалось мало помилок, тому нам вдалося пройти в winner stage.
So when the pressure is high, what helps NAVI stay calm and make the right decisions?
Чесно кажучи, навіть по цей час не відчувається ніякого тиску. Напевно, тому що у кожного є своя роль, кожен розуміє, що йому треба робити, і від цього залежить вся наша гра.
Like who is the most competitive person on NAVI, like even outside of games?
Та немає такого, що хтось більше, хтось менше. Я вважаю, що у нас у всіх в команді одна ціль і всі хочуть перемагати однаково.
Who is the loudest during the practice and who is the quietest teammate?
Насправді в нас немає найголоснішого, але є найтихіший, це Бустік.
Like finally, what's the biggest goal for NAVI heading into the next stage of the tournament, like the winner stage or the finals?
Ціль, як і у всіх інших команд, виграти цей турнір.
Alright, congratulations on advancing to the winner stage. Hope you guys had a good performance today. Bye!
Thank you, bye. Bye.
Arctis Nova 7, Gen 2. The app called The Biggest Cheat Code in the Industry is here for PC and console. It's got real-time audio control.
Welcome back. It is time for game number 3 in just a few minutes here from beautiful Shanghai, China for PGS7. We're in the survival stage, where it's important for our teams to make a statement that they deserve to be in the grand finals. And if they make it there, they get to play in the winner's bracket next week. They have a chance at going for the cup. Like, no harm, no foul, essentially, if you can make it up to the winner's bracket top 8 today. If you don't, though, Poro, this becomes very big harm, very big foul, because next week you're starting on the back foot, right?
You absolutely are, and nobody is happy about that, and nobody wants to have that happen. Nobody wants to sit there and watch everybody else have fun, like a Squidward meme, like staring through the blinds. Yeah, I mean, they still got 3 games left. The cut line's not that far away. Even the teams that have had a really rough start, looking at you, T1, looking at you, Godlike, they can still turn things around, and maybe they'll do it here on Tago.
No, I cannot fit in those Thai boxing shorts up on the map, but what I can fit in is a game 3. Tago, it's time to do so. This is the place where the leaderboard is so close right now that one good game can set the path for you to go to the grand final, to play for the big money, and set your path to the circuit final in 2.5 weeks' time. This is a very important match that you are not playing catch-up in the final 2. And as with all important matches, we've got to turn it over to the golden voices of Porosaurus and Gibson.
Maybe my voice is more pyrite than gold, but hey, well, I'll take the compliment, Poro. How you been?
How have I been? I've been fantastic, my guy. It is 6:18 a.m. and I getting to watch some baller PUBG. No map stream?
Yeah.
Is that kicked in for you yet?
No, don't worry. It's not there for me either. You're not going crazy, but we're what?
I just
we're
want to see where everybody's dropping.
Yeah, we're what? 40% through all the action today already. There's 3 games left to go. The cut line is really low at the minute because Supers have been taking the majority of the points so far. And is it one of those things where it's a good thing for the viewers when the cut line is so low, but it's a terrifying thing for the players, right? Because you're going, where are we going to find these points?
It's scary, yeah, but it's also, it leaves you with that sensation of hope, right? Like, especially if you're below the cut line, especially if you're a team that's kind of been chasing circles and been put in bad situations, and you just haven't found a bit of luck to go your way so far this weekend. It might be okay, Solozzi, that's ambitious.
Yeah, send them off.
Let them know.
Yeah,
let them know.
15 damage with the shotgun from range. I'll take that. But you know what I mean? Like, if you do well today, you get top 8. You get the chance to play for $100,000. If you don't play well, you're in Shanghai for a week with no PUBG to play, and you go, right, well, what next?
Yeah,
確かに1週間もいんのか。
obviously the money,
何もしないで。
huge deal, or huge deal. A lot of people very excited about that, but the top of mind for all these players is getting a PGC at the end of the year, right? Like, everybody wants to get there, and we're starting to run out of time, man. We're halfway through, and if you don't make this final, you don't find yourself fighting for those PGC points. All of a sudden, you find yourself kind of pushed up against the wall here as we get the replay highlights from last game over there on Miramar, where Supers managed to secure themselves a victory.
Yeah, Super's got the win in that one. Again, we've kind of spoken at length about it. That was a beautiful shot. Overkill with the headshot with the links, by the way, but I'll allow you, as Godlike kind of got picked apart as well. But back to your PGC points discussion, if I'm not wrong, which I very well could be, so correct me if I am, but I think the points have doubled from this point on as well. So, you know, being here and getting the opportunity to play for it is a really big deal for the likes of Godlike, for the likes of Nemesis, who, you know, kind of on the outside looking in both of their regions when it comes to qualifying for PGC. So you have to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, a lot more on the line as the year progresses, right? So, yeah, keep an eye on our current game. Nobody's fighting yet. Circle's gone north. It's going to the North Island. So finally, we get to see what the north side of the map looks like, which we feel like we've been down in that hospital area on the coastline for the last few days. But get to see it off to the north this time is, yeah, I mean, once Super's kind of waited out Godlike, I think maybe going a little bit too early there. They were in a game of chicken, and I don't know if they knew it.
Yeah, I saw a tweet as well. The coach was kind of talking, and he took full responsibility for the poor performance in the groups. He was like, look, we came here, we decided to, you know, I made the decision for the team to play differently than how we expected or how we played regionally, and it didn't work. And he said today they were going to come out and play what got them here. It's not quite worked as well. You know what, bearing in mind you're playing against a much higher level of competition when you get to these international events, but I just feel like they're struggling with the pacing. Like, they're finding themselves rotating off pace, you know, getting into positions later than they should do. And I feel like a map like this now, where the circle's gone north, they have a really good chance of crossing that bridge by fishing camp nice and early, getting into the circle where, yeah, guess what? Supers have already secured center point for themselves, because that's just what the team on top does.
Not a bad way to start there if you're supers. But the one thing about that part of the map, though, is something that we see all the time in Taego, right? It's all hills, it's all trees, it's all forest up there. So we'll see what they decide to do, if they just entrench themselves, dig themselves in early, or maybe opt for a little 2-2 split. They're going to get some presence. That's a good thing, right? Tyloo going to take that E pickup all the way from that southwestern side, and it's going to send them right over dead center circle. So we'll keep an eye on Tyloo to see where they go.
Yeah, let's just give the team on top of the leaderboard the Taego drop as well. So you've got basically everything you could ever want and more to work with, and they'll say thank you very much. And if you remember the first map you and I casted, we saw what Deal was able to do with the FAMAS. So let's see what they'll be able to do this time with an arm in the back pocket. Yeah, that's even better, right? Let's give the team on top of the highest point of this section of the map an arm as well.
打ち終わったとしてもまだ拾えるしね。
Give it to the Bobsong head. Mr. Deal has been cracking so far today. Supers playing with confidence, playing with momentum. As we get to see that crafting AI, trying to figure out exactly where these teams are going. As Twisted Minds, you're kind of stuck on a bridge here. Where are we looking? Okay, nobody out there. I think they're just defending themselves from Yongchan, just in case T1 was going to be looking over in that direction. But the rest of the team already kind of uphill, so we'll keep an eye on that as we check in with Anyone's Legend. They're coming in on that western side. Looks like they'll avoid Gen G for the time being.
Yeah, like the Vitality projected rotate is actually probably the one that I think they will actually make, going to that very northwestern side, just on the edge of Wall Song.
For sure, yeah.
Like, that's a great spot to be in. Godlike as well. Do they go the far side of Godok? I think they will. They'll make their way into the circle too, but Falcons, they have a great opportunity with Kickstart in the sky, scouting ahead of them, to move all the way, like, they're clear all the way to Army Base here, Power. Was Baron trying to catch out Twisted Minds?
Yeah, this is what I was worried about, Twisted Minds. They didn't know exactly what they were pushing into, but they only sent one, they sent two. Batu, an example, we'll see if they can retreat off and go and rejoin the rest of the boys off to the east of Yongchan. Looks like they should be able to, so good on them for avoiding the catastrophe there with Myth. But now they still have to deal with T1 over here on that western side of Yongchan. We've already zoomed in the map, so I don't see if anybody else is making any long rotations over towards the east.
Yeah. Oro, how's your Portuguese?
Not great.
Well, then let's listen to Godlike anyway. Let's hear what Godlike have to say. It's sitting in 15th place.
そっか、ポルトガル語か。
Não, rotação vai pra ser você, Tony. Vai pra você. Vai pra você.
Recua que nós tem torre. Vamos pegar na sua frente.
Não, mas tem um jogo.
A gente já caiu do Glad agora. Tô avisando só. Vou parar
う
mais
わー、
assim.
早すぎるな。ちょっとわかんない
Tô
な。
passando. Vamos acompanhando o heavy aqui, Tony.
しかも全然違うな、スイングと。
Pode começar,
や
tá?
っぱ。
Você acha que faz amarelo?
Vai por cima aqui, heavy. Não? Pode ser por cima, então.
Amarelo.
Mas vai pro meio da safe. Aquela lá, né?
You know what I love about these interviews? First of all, it's the tone that some of the players take compared to others, but secondly, the difference in graphic settings between the players, right? Like, you can see some players like the contrast turned up more, some don't, some like to play with the aspect ratio a little bit wider than others. Like, as well as just listening, you can see how different players play the game.
It's always interesting stuff to see how the best in the world do it, and that's a good ship for Godlike. That's going to go hard off to the northwest, hugging the coast again on Taego, but this time it's going to be the north side. As you see, Tyloo already in Army Base. Falcons will have to fight their way through that. Anyone's Legend going to take a spot there on the intersection. And boy, these mountains, looks like they're going to manage to avoid each other for now. I think that's Vitality that's kind of cruising right through that Gen G 2-2 split. Few shots being sent over there, but that's the good thing about the terrain is that it allows you to kind of avoid each other as well if you just make that, get the right rotation line. You can kind of get away with doing some stuff you might not otherwise be able to.
Yeah, trees, dips, and valleys all providing cover for a lot of these teams on their way in. Anyone's Legend, they've got just north of center circle alongside Vitality, as Vitality moved pretty close to Sololzy. He set up the trap, and I don't think he has any. He's also beached the car. The car is actually beached. You're now stuck by yourself. The nade's going to get thrown. He's got to go on foot, but where's the rest of Vitality?
That's a lot of grenades. Well, hopefully the rest of them aren't anywhere near here because Levante looks like he is in a world of trouble. He's actually going to be able to escape, though, so good work on the part of his team for providing some support there. As Hakatori going to get a little bit too close to Sharper, so this is the other side of that coin where you can get really close to people and kind of survive the rotation, but you can also find yourself right on top of somebody and not even know it. Alpha going to find that out the hard way here as they're going to lose a couple to supers.
Yeah, Twisted Minds picking up that kill onto Pau. Heaven got one for supers of himself as well as the rich just keep on getting richer. 37 points is where they're leading the line now for supers, and just kind of clearing all those teams away from that southeastern side. T1 in a bit of trouble here. Nade toss deep. Is the explosion going to do enough damage? Not quite. Raining and Heather take a little bit of damage, and the second nade from Soul is perfect. T1 in trouble.
Oh boy, T1 in trouble all day. That's a story so far, isn't it? And now they're going to lose another one. Heather all by himself. T1 has looked so good at times this year. And they just have not been able to find it in this week so far. We'll see if they can maybe pull off a miracle with 2 games remaining. If not, we're going to be waiting to see them till next week.
Scappy in behind the tree, tossing smoke on one side. He's got Tycon not too far away. We know what Tycon can do in these situations. Falcons felt his fury earlier on today. The nade's going to get tossed deep, and that buys him time to fall back, move north, get regrouped with the rest of the team because you've got Sharper here, you've got Alpha still, Tycon, and Navi not too far away.
There you go.
As Soul eventually deals with T1.
God, 2 points in 3 games for a team of T1's caliber. I mean, that's a team that I had expectations of making the final. Like that was their where they should be.
いや、なんだこのアンチ。
delivered on that so far. Still time left.
4チームしかいないですよ。まあ、6チームか。7チームか。
favor that coastline. So Falcons still playing around there.
東側のチームは。でも、ツイステッドマインズ。今だったら誰もいないからね、北西の。でも2-2スプリットしたとしても、ボットライク、これ、振られるかもしれない、ツイステッドマインズ。少しあればいいからね、ポイント。
We'll catch out Delwyn as Falcons doing some work on the northern side of the circle. Made in Thailand, they've got the rotate a Sharper in their mindset, but you know, for Baron, you miss every shot you don't take, and he had the opportunity to take some earlier. Maybe this time he can land one.
だからランドレッシオで、ちょっと最初のアンチ、あれだよね、不安定になったよね。期限っていうか。
Oh, it's gonna fall just a little bit shy.
ポイント探すしかないよ。
We'll continue to just hold them on the line and
日本ズレズレ近いからね。
they're going to keep on rolling. And Guman will actually hop out, but I think it's because he
日本
had
ズレジェンド
to.
15ポイント、ファルコンズ12ポイントだから両チームとも0ポイントでは終わりたくない。ね。
collapsed on it. They're just slow, and you can't really get away with that in a lobby like this.
余裕を持ちたいね。次の2試合。
Nice smoke wall laid down there by Sololzy, and Himas will allow anyone's legend to keep 3 up. So they'll just be trading shots across the street for now.
Yeah, Falcons now, they've got supers just to the north, anyone's legend to the south, and well, anyone like Vitality. They've got to be very careful now because they might push towards anyone's legend, and that could open the door for supers or Gen G to backfill them. Wind here, or Winda, as we're going to continue calling, despite being correct earlier, will play the coastline, but he is a long way to go on feet. And Dragon, you've heard the steps. Come on, you're bound to have heard that.
Definitely heard some. Got that M249. Keep that thing going. It doesn't matter. Winda. Nice 1v1 there. Dragon's going to be kicking himself over that one. He should have won that every day of the week. And now Lee is in trouble too, and he's going to go down. Winda not waiting any time at all before he just folds Tai Lu like a lawn chair. Well done there by the solo for 4 a.m.
Yeah, now Navi are in a ton of trouble here. Thunder's getting up on top of the ridgeline. Navi fall, and Sharper pick up their 22nd point.
これドンカツ、この後の2試合でドンカツとある程度ポイント取れれば上がれるからね。
Oh, I love it. I love it. You know my old self loves some Earth, Wind, and Fire references. Well, no, GG. And the Expendables in a good spot there to take down Gedrox, who was doing a little bit of exploring. The circle will finally pull away from water, so that's great news for the Expendables. Great news for Gen G as well. They have complete control over that south side. And we'll see if they get away with this. Petrichor Road over there on the southwest. Looks like they're in vehicles. Don't know where they're going to go just yet. You see 04MB kind of looking over in this direction towards Gen G, but they haven't made a commitment either way just yet. Sharper still just keeping eyes on Myth, trying to cause problems. They know that they got Vitality in front of them, but look at that. That's just free fire down there on Myth.
Yeah, bad news for Godlike as well. That circle shift completely evicting them away from that shark fin point on the north side of the map, so they'll need to force their way in. I think at this point in time, they're just trying to send supers a little bit deeper, as Wind will continue to be a menace from over on the coastline. He's got his car now, he's got his teammates back. Like, Wind is now living his best life in this situation, but the problem for him is you got to run directly into the firing line of Falcons and anyone's Legend and maybe even supers on this rotate. So I think they're going to go south, and that could be the problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only option they really have. Ooh, he's going to see Myth in their little hidey hole right there. Big shots coming out from them, but nothing producing for Myth, as they'll have to keep the smoke cycling. Shrimzy's going to pick out Shen. We'll see if he actually gets that kill. Of course not. Kiss is going to steal it. Feels like Falcons have lost about 5 or 6 points off of Nox being stolen away from them so far today.
And those 5 or 6 points could be the difference between qualification and not playing at the weekend. So
always is,
especially when you're around the bubble. Like, it's okay if you're supers and it's happening, but when you're in 8th place with just 2 maps left after this one, you got to confirm every single knock that you get if it's feasible to do so. Vitality, they've still got the south side of the circle. 4 AM have created their little dip that they're going to play at the base of this tree. They're rooted in there. See what I did there? As we've also got, yeah, it's not, not just you and Toffees. Sometimes I can get one in them.
It's not me. It's never me. It's always Toffees. Well, okay, I did actually get to see the updated stats. Falcons have stolen 1 kill and had 5 stolen away from them. So that's 4 points picked out of their pockets, which they're sitting on that cut line in 8th place right now. You don't think they'd be preferring to be sitting on 16 points in 4th rather than 12? I gotta tell you, it's tough, man. Those points are so tough to get in this lobby.
Yeah, Sharper getting held now right against the blue by Scape from being Thailand. He's got the Dacia for some cover, and these bushes will make him a little bit harder to spot as well. So some tires will be popped, meaning that at this point he will have to go on foot from here. Levante with the ace manages to hit the first few 16 rounds in reserve, so he's going to switch over to the nade, tossing it towards Soul. The shots come in, and Soul's going to get nailed by Quizzy.
Gen G, they just can't find it either. It's been a rough day for Korea. Well, with the exception of supers, obviously. But actually, you know what? Gen G not doing that bad.
It's
right?
just
overall,
team
they're 5th. Yeah, they're 5th place. This is obviously not how they would have liked this game to go, but they still have Bean and D up. We'll see if they can pull something out as we check in over here with the aforementioned.
1枚になってからの耐えができてるチームがポイント取れてるイメージもあるな。TPP だからそこら辺のやりやすさっていうのもあるかもしれないし、それをうまく駆使できる人たちがいるチームがポイント取れてるかな。なんかちょっと思ってるのと違うかもね。固まって移動するの
See that replay of poor Navi, man. This I feel like I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I've seen this happen about 3 or 4 times this weekend, where Navi just pulls up into somewhere and they get absolutely roasted by a solo. Thunder's beautiful work by him. As he's getting a little bit of support from his teammate, but that was pretty much all on one guy here.
That was nice, though. Slow-mo makes everything look cooler though, doesn't it?
Oh,
As
dude,
Thunders.
absolutely.
He clears them out, and there's the headsets coming off. That's the sign of a defeated team. Sharper back into the action though. This time it's Levante going head-to-head with him. He'll manage to catch Thunders, tossing the molly over the other side with the blue zone nade. Sharper are deleted. D actually third-partied that one from Gen G as they now move up to 17 points, and there's still 11 teams left.
All right, here we go. Gen G, they do lose 2 unceremoniously, but the solos, or the duo, still managing to find points here and there. Good work from Vitality here as well. 5 kills now. Find themselves in 3rd place overall, 21 points. Great place to be with 2 games remaining. They still have to make their way in the zone, but it looks like they should have a pretty easy path in as Levante will spot out. Actually, it's going to be Scappy that takes down Quizzy. Might be able to get that res. Good smoke.
NAVI
down
マジ
by
で調子悪い。
Levante. Quizzy is actually closer to zone, so they should be able to get him back.
Yeah, they're going to bring the car up as well to provide a little bit of cover, so if any nades are tossed, they'll hope that they bounce off that pony instead, and that will give the opportunity for Vitality to get back up to a 3. Tiggleton, looks like Falcons now have left their compound, playing the north side of that road, catching out Deal, but are they able to confirm it? It doesn't look like Supers are in any rush to get there, and Godlike on the other hand going head-to-head with Twisted Minds, and that'll be a great knock from Fana, but Godlike in trouble. They're sitting in 15th place, 2 points on the board, and they're getting pushed by one of the best in the business.
ポジションの有利生かせなかったな、ゴッドライク最初の。
Twisted Minds. It's down to just Tony and Fana. He takes shots at range at Supers, but yeah, you see Ming Ming has an angle on him as well. This is tough sledding for sure for Godlike. Just get a point here. Get something, man. 1 kill before going out would be at least something to try to build off, as it looks like he spotted out Heaven, did some damage, but don't get the knock. Meanwhile, Petrichor Road still 4 strong, playing in from that southwestern side. This could be a good game for them. They've only got 1 kill so far, but a good game could turn around their fortunes here.
Yeah, it looks like Petrichor Road have managed to get themselves tucked in. Made in Thailand will fall as Hello My Bad finishes off the work that they started on the Myth a little while ago. Lou holding the circle, and then Example is just waiting for the move from Godlike. Like, Lou's going to feed the information. Godlike's going to get the shots off on the... or Example will get the shots off the Godlike. I just don't envy this position at all. And just as I say it, Example steps up. He gets one, and Fana... I know that you're fantastic, but I don't know if there's much you can do now.
That's a dirty angle, for example, isn't it? Just peeking through that little tiny hidey hole as Banner will try to hop in the vehicle and see if he can maybe get through. He's actually going to go for the rock, surprisingly. I thought if you were in the vehicle, maybe just send it for the road and hope for the best. Does get the knock and will go down in the end. So maybe he'll be able to pick up a point there off of Example. That's something.
Yeah. But it's 3. The other team that are sitting alive at the bottom of that half of that leaderboard really is the Expendables, with all 4 players up. They've got the south side held for now, with Vitality and Gen G not too far away. But at some point, like when the Expendables were good, like when they were really good, yeah, how good are they?
Yeah,
But they
Falcons
third-partied
は
everything.
結構
They're not
いい
really
感じ
doing that
正
over the
味。
course of these PGSs this year.
That's been tough. It's been tough. I mean, look, we've beat it to death at this point, but so many changes this year, and teams are having to adapt really, really quickly, and it's very difficult as the grenade will come through, and D, Hello My Bad will go down. D's going to go down to Duck Shoes, though. So Gen G now just down to Bean, as the Expendables still kind of doing a little bit of farming there on that southern side. Only 2 kills, so I guess we can't really call it farming just yet, but in a good position. On that south side, Petrichor Road have that higher ground. Falcons in control of the north, and they've managed to make it across the road as well. So good late game prep for them. Heaven. I think he's been found out.
Yeah, he's done and dusted. Super's eliminated into the top 7 now, and I said Gen G, well, they've been in worse positions than this before and still managed to get something out of it, but Bean is going to see if he can hold it. I think that, yeah. One thing about the Expendables, you don't want to be in a 1v4 against them, because they are going to just run through you.
Goodness, we're not even going to talk about the fact that anyone's legend just mortared 4 a.m. to death. And they do manage to make it across the road, so they'll play in this late game here as Chewy's going to spot out Kickstart. And unfortunately for Falcons, Kickstart is just all the way on the side here. We'll see if they can actually get that res up, but that might be a sign for Pero to just start making this wrap down.
This is clever from Kick, you know, staying up.
正味ね、あんまりドンカツを考えなくていいっぽいよね。
to flush him when he's on that position, so you just kind of keep Gustav holding them back. Tiggleton will do the same, and that will allow for the res. The terrain really working in Falcon's favor here, and Pero, they don't really want to push down the hill because of the high ground and then put yourself in a bad position for later on. So I think both teams are doing the right thing.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I have not been super impressed with Petrichor Road's utility usage. Their grenades are just not landing so far. So maybe
that one is.
Might be time to go back to the training range there for Petrichor Road when it comes to throwing those grenades. Now, obviously, that spot that they were at, trying to throw it down the hill and land that, really, really difficult. So, not too surprised that they weren't able to hit that one, as that one's going to bounce. Destroy.
Oh, Tiggleton finds that one.
Oh, go ahead.
And it's stolen. And it's stolen.
Of course it is. I mean, they're minus. I think they're -6 now overall, unless they've stolen a couple here that I haven't caught. But keep up with this. The Expendables now taking it to Petro.
Yeah, you said they'd be in second place now if it wasn't for all those kills being stolen away. That nade lands right at the feet of Huang. He's going to get caught by Ming Ming. And this time, Petrichor Road are not going to rest on their laurels. They are flooding south now towards the Expendables. This utility usage is going to be a little bit better. Stepping up his Chlorys, and this is what he can do. But I-26 will knock it back the other way, and the Expendables now getting pushed by Petrichor Road. And this fight, they are third party. They're pushing hard.
I mean, this is actually exactly what Petrichor is going to do. They're just going to go ahead and run through with that BRDM. Falcon's going to take advantage of the situation, try to take center dot away. Tiggleton as that anchor off to the north. Now they have put themselves in a good spot here. Utility. They can actually come over here and finish up what's left. As Lou, the last player from Twisted Minds, has managed to stay alive for long enough to get his team into the top 5.
Morford as well, because he's going to phase north, which will give him a little bit more cover. That's another grenade. But I want to go back to that opening nade. Can we give Huang some credit for how good that first touch was? Like, he killed that nade right at his toes. What a first touch. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't a football. It was an explosive device. So, you know, we might learn something off of that one. But it's a 4v2v1v1, Paro.
All right, Falcons. This is your time. This is your time to try to capitalize off of good position. This is what we talk about. You put yourself in position to where you're hovering around, just hanging around to where if you do get a little bit of circle favor and stuff goes your way, you can capitalize on it. As Petrichor Road, hunt down Lou, rolling around in the cockroach, and Lou is just gonna dance. He's like, "Oh, I dare you to jump out. Please jump out and try to kill me. I will take this immediately."
Yeah. Just keep dodging. Don't be doing that, Petrichor Road. This is not the play. I'm impressed by the patience of Petrichor Road to not get out and take this fight. And eventually they
almost
do.
got it. Look at I-26. I think he's sitting on like 2 HP.
NAVI さんは
One snake cleaned up. Problem is, the Falcons have one right here. I don't know if they know about it just yet, but they're playing that ridge line, so Himass is just gonna wait for the inevitable. I think, I mean, you've got to at least pre-nade this just in case.
What is it you call it again? The top 3 RDM? Is that what I've heard you call it a few times?
Top 3 RDM.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And it's like, you can't really rule Pero out. Looking at Falcons, they do have the ammo count to kind of really damage that thing if it does start pushing their way, but Himass is the problem for now. This guy has 1v2'd, 1v3'd, 1v4'd in his time, and Falcons, they have been the team that have been caught out by rats so many times in the past as well.
They've gotten snake bit by this before, and I think they know it, and they're not gonna be overly aggressive trying to get that guy, because all it takes is just one misstep, and Himass will get 2 knocks, and trying to push uphill into a guy that's just hiding out into a dip, like there's nothing. He could very easily take out 2 of you, and now all of a sudden Petrichor Road is just going to bum rush you. As Himass will try to make a run for it. Shrimsy takes a spray in, doesn't get him down. Yet Petrichor Road still just driving around. His kickstart will finally take down Himass. So there you go, 4 picked up for Falcons, and they do have a BRDM, they do have a Panzerfaust, so I-26 is going to see it, he's going to hop out, but it's going to be too late. Tiggleton will clean him up, and now it's down to where he is. Falcons, can they capitalize on their good position? Indeed they can. Big win for the team in green.
Yeah, big for Falcons.
設定が違うのかなやっぱ。
Yesterday's performance, that should put them up above the cut line. They'll probably be in second place after that one.
もうファルコンズいける、DNS もいける。まあ多分ツイストワインズいける。シャーパーも多分いけるやん。まあでもあとは分かんないかな。あと4枠。じすばらすばら。
I think this time we saw them stay calm and win the game they were supposed to.
やっといいアンチに引けた感じがする。まあよくはないか別に。頑張った。
I think that they have been very smart about their movement in this game in particular. That push up against Petrichor, knowing that they had to just back off and rotate back around the north side of the bottom of the hill was like epic consideration. Really great play. And then obviously Lou surviving the late game Poro and being that sort of like slowdown on the BRDM and making them have to actually stop and deal with him was super clutch to making the finish very easy for the Falcons.
Yeah, no, and the Expendables also did them a lot of favors, right, by just not going down easily. But that's what you deal with here when you're playing in and around these hills and you have that destructible terrain. You got guys that can just dig themselves in. I mean, you saw how much of a problem it was for Falcons to get rid of him ass there at the end. And you can't be overly aggressive because you could very easily...
少し初期の音楽をリミックスするのいいよね。
So that's just the environment that these guys are playing in now.
I'm also loving the evolution of the Molotov. In a time when digging holes is the greatest way to the end game. We've seen the grenades have two problems. A, they bounce with the holes, right? They're hard to like really figure out where your cook target's gonna be. And more importantly, you can just duck into a hole and sort of dodge that. And then if you miss the kill, you're just making more cover for your opponents.
今面白い話してるね。
The evolution of the Molotov, which does not care about holes. If you watch some of these Molotovs in the highlights, you could be laying in a hole and there can be a split between you, and the Molotov will still spread as if there is no ditch necessarily. Just kind of flat spreads.
グレネードよりモロトブの需要が高くなってますねって話してる。でグレネードの問題点としては、まあまず新しい穴を作ってしまう敵のためのと、その円形状にちょっと微妙な段差があったりとか、めちゃくちゃ難しいんだよね。うまくやんないとグレを。でその点で言うと、そのモロトブはある程度のところに投げたら広がるから、その穴にめちゃくちゃ刺さりますねって、まあ需要が高くなってるんじゃないかなっていう話してる。おもろそう。
did a lot of work on that one, but I feel like actually the person that secured the most for Falcons in that game was Tiggleton. Still playing and holding that.
でも実際さ、ブルーザングレネードと火炎瓶の需要がマジで高くなってる。でもそれでもやっぱ使い慣れてるグレー、うまければグレーでいいからね。直接当てればいいから。でもこの穴ぼこメタって言った方がいいのか。穴掘り掘りメタ、モグラメタは火炎瓶は刺さるね。実際火炎瓶で今年の最初よりも火炎瓶でノックしてる人たちの方が多いからね。これを見て重さ変更するかどうか。ずっと思ってたんだよね、グレで投げて。グレ投げてこれ穴できちゃったら相手有利になるくねみたいな。俺はPUBG に提案したい。何個か。まず一つ、掘削用のグレネードを作って、今のグレネードをもうちょっと弱体化する。それは差別化するっていうのと、あとは防具、別にグレネード弱くしなくていいか。で2個目の点は防具を
爆弾に強い防具を作る。でもやっぱそのデメリットを背負わせなければいけないから、その防具に対して動きが遅くなるとか。だから車にその防具を入れといて、で着いた瞬間に防具着替えて、その爆弾用に爆撃用に耐えるように変えて、で撃ち合うときはもう一回変えるみたいな。
I'm glad you covered that. Let's talk
なんかあった方がいい気がする。面白そうだけどね、それあったら。
Let's go talk about the leaderboard now that it's gone, because it is starting to get to the point where cutoffs are viable coming into this last two games here.
多分面白い。戦術的に広がると思うし、やること。タクティカルバックに対しての重要をどうにかして高くしないと、タクティカルバックの中にいろんなもの入れるみたいな。パンツァー。
There's a pretty big drop there between
パンツァーはいいや。パンツァーはどうにかしよう。とりあえず。その人に対してのダメージ減らすとか。車に乗ってたらダメージ上げてはいいと思うけど、全然。人に対するダメージは。
Do you think that gap starting to establish itself as a problem?
Towards the top, not so much.
対グレ防具は持てる容量が通常より少ないこと。ありあり。全然あり。ありありあり。でも別にその車に入れる前提で話するけど、車に入れるっていうことはその分車に入れれる物資が少なくなるわけだから、4人で車1台持つでしょ、全員で。1人はモーター持って、全員は持ってない、全員は詰めれないかもねって、全員で対グレ防具詰めることもできるかもしれないけど、結果的には持てる物資少なくなるからね。やっぱその対グレ用の防具を入れることになったら。まあそれで言ったらグレはやっぱ弱くしなくてもいいのか。対グレ防具作ったら持ってく持ってく量減るからな、結果的に切るってなったら。対グレ防具とかができたら真ん中行って穴掘り掘りがやりやすくなる。でそれに対する攻め方はもう C4 とかもいろんな面白いモーターとか。なんかあんのかな、グレーを跳ね返すなんか電子機器みたいな。
We don't often see it be a bit more western way and down towards the south. We've been getting a lot of that Jadina City lean and of course test track and everything like that. You can't stretch
投げた投擲物が無効化されるみたいな。あったらおもろいよね。
That's going to put Sharper into a good position. There you go. It's going to pop right down there. Jinji right off the start. Myth in a great spot. And now it's going to be Vitality trying to very quickly regroup, get in position.
見てますか、厳しさん。面白いかもしれないですよ。今って確かカスタムゲームっていうか、自分なんだ他のゲームみたいにその自分が好きなゲームを PUBG で作れるみたいな。だからなんかそのミニ大会みたいなあったはずだと思うんだけど、それで正直もうちょっと早く出してもよかったと思うんだよな。自分なりのミニゲームを PUBG で作れるように。でそこからインスピレーションもらえるから、実際。
So if you make the finals here, you open at winners, and if you make the top 8, you go straight to the grand final again. So you can really streamline your process here in Shanghai. If you lose here, it means that you're sitting cold for almost a full week before you have 5 games to get back up, and that is a very difficult challenge.
PUBG も採用してくれるかもしれない。
Different country, week sitting down, everybody else watching, playing, everything. It's brutal, man. Every single one of the players just talks about how much they hate having to play in the survival series. it just it can break you if you lose it, and it's so hard to rebuild momentum once you end in the qualification. Once you end up being and failing out of the survival stage with that week, you're also going to be losing a lot of extra play that everybody else is getting. So it makes it so much harder to even get back in because those slight meta evolutions happen. And God, it just feels like you're just constantly behind everything that's going on in the game now.
Yep. Well, there's no scrim options. You're stuck. And if you've played this game, you know that even a couple of days off can make you feel rusty, right? Like you miss a week and you come back in and it takes you a few games to feel like you get your feet back under you. This, as you bring up, Matcham, is a very real problem because all year at the hotel, there are some computers, there's some options to play at the facility, but that's maybe a couple of hours a day, or you have to go to a PC cafe in Shanghai with the masses and sort of just play on whatever's available. And that is not super conducive to, as you said, fine-tuning skill-based requirements and strategy changes that are going to be so gosh darn important. So getting knocked back and being in a foreign country with your friends, you know, and as much as we love our friends, sometimes locked in a room with your friends for 3 weeks is not the same as hanging out with your friends online for a couple hours of games a night. So it's a lot to deal with.
It's a little bit hard to also maintain a friendship whenever you're having to spend a week after the survival series. It's a bit taxing for some of the teams sometimes, as emotions can get high on why you didn't manage to qualify. It's a lot of eyes looking forward to what could happen after this, but you can see a couple of rotates now as Vitality is going to be down to the south. Sharper is going to be able to repel that, as Sharper is still managing to keep up a decent enough points per game with these last two, and also in a great position in the circle, so starting to feel pretty good for them. Tai Lu, though, going to be just down to the north of them in the lower ground position.
Oh, no.
Sharper up on top. Tai Lu
Run,
going up
Sharper,
Jedi.
Run, Jedi!
He's got to run back over the Thunders.
The Sith are coming
for him.
Thunder will protect him. Tai Lu decides to stop down. They don't have the aggressive bone that many of these other teams have. They're like, you know what, we're happy with this position. We'll take it for just a second. Sharper will rotate back around. The circle very firmly placed it on Hung Shan, and Genji very firmly placed inside of that town. They're going to be stoked about the amount of damage they should be able to output to teams that are coming around the area sniffing for some cover.
Genji's got Hung Shan pretty much on lock right now. Should be able to replenish enough. Salute actually went down and got a crate because, you know, rich get richer kind of situation. So it's going to be then pretty centered in the circle. Whenever you look at Lin Jiang, it doesn't have anybody that's going to be over there. The fishhook kind of laying more into the west of the circle means that most of the squads are going to be playing down to the south or a bit more into that northern area where we see T1 playing from. Bean, though, does spot out. Picks up two on Petrichor Road right off the start. And the defense of Hung Shan, very strong off the get-go. Doesn't even need Salute. You can stay back down there at that crate.
Yeah, we said they were excited about sniffing out a couple of kills here as people come in to check the area out, and they're going to go ahead and get two as they send them off into the distance. T1 heard some kerfuffle and decides that they are going to come investigate as well, maybe try to backfill this rotation where the remainder of Petrichor is.
I mean, T1, their bread and butter successes is just running in and finding these kills early, and that's what they're going to do. Heather played EWC so well, and we've kind of seen a couple of moments with Heather, but this T1, it doesn't feel as, I guess, early game aggressive as we were seeing them before. This, if anything, is a bit of a return to form for them, as now poor old Ming Ming by himself. Damage control on phase one never feels good.
Damage control and driving around, it never feels good, but I would like a few insights as we watch teams rotating right now. It seems like we have a short catch-up with Batulin from Twisted Minds as he gives some thoughts on, I think, the meta so far.
Hello everyone, we're having
バツリンズの今回のメタに対するコメントかな
to qualify. Do you think it's competitive enough, your score?
I think it's not enough yet. It should be like around 30 points. We only have like 24, I guess, or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if we're gonna continue playing like that, we will manage to qualify after 5 games.
So is there any like play today are you most proud of?
The most, I would say that the first game when we aggressively split between 2 compounds on Wrangle, it was a pretty good move by us, and I think we should have won this game, but unfortunately we didn't. But yeah, I'm proud of this game.
It seems like you left your vehicle in this blue zone?
Yeah. I think Luke was killed by blue zone. I don't know how, but like, yeah. But
okay. Right. So, what's your plan like, to keep this momentum?
Just play our game and do not think of any bad things, and yeah, just continue.
Alright. But in the last game, example,
書いてあると思う。
like that's so cool. What do you, how would you
さっきも書いてなかったっけ、右上に。
I think that since Kazakhstan,
書い
the
てあった
tournament
と
in
思う。
Kazakhstan example was MVP in this event,
Yeah.
and now he's also playing pretty well. I think he just found himself, maybe, in this at this time of the year, and hopefully he will continue doing his job.
Yeah.
He did pretty well, and yeah, I'm just happy for him.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that too. So see you in the next game.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's all for you. Bye.
Bye.
Jinxie had me stressed out. Calling an interview in the middle of a match is stressful, Matt, because you're like, I hope a fight doesn't break out. And Jinxie asked like 3 extra questions, but it was good. I like the insight from Batulin saying that 2-2 split over on Erangel was one of the most impactful things we did today, and I got to agree.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we look at also that's just seeing Batulin smile, that's always a good sign. Just a couple more points that they need coming out from his mouth. Vitality, though, going to make the send over into Hongshan, see if they can find anything over there.
Hongshan 何チーム ?1、2、3、4。
bit scarier as it might force them to
VNS
go to
は
the
今降り
hillside,
てるから
but the northeastern area is open, and I think that they've got a read on that. A couple of drops coming in as it looks like the supers are going to be making landfall right on top of it. But at the same time, Jinxie pulled into too many different directions as it is actually going to be Himas at range that manages to spot out and take down Heaven.
Heaven coming from the sky, DNS, so GNG gonna have to try to defend against this. Earlier we talked about how they're excited about having a few extra kills as people sniff around town, but now there's just too many people in town as it has become an absolute mess with all 3 of these teams locked in and locked up. I don't think we get to return on soup, so they'll be down to 3 players, and I would assume that this will be relatively defensive, look for some pick shots, but not overly aggressive against each other, as they're just gonna kind of wait and see what the circle does.
I do like the fact that Gen G retreated from the defense on this and instead just kind of gave up the north and let them have it. That's just too much territory to try to control in the circle because most people are going to try to avoid the northeastern area, or actually more the due north area, and you're just going to end up with all these little minor firefights that are going on everywhere as Sharper just in some trouble with that little bit of a regroup that we saw them going for. Going to get punished for it and Foreigner Men.
Sharper. ちょっと危なくないか
do a little cooking as Sharp loses a player and has to try to force some recoverment. The good news for them is that they are at 24 points, and you heard Batulin in the interview saying 30 is kind of where they think the cutoff is going to be, which means you really only need to get about 3 points per game to get yourself in a sort of comfortable spot in terms of qualification. I think if Sharper makes it through, a lot of people will be surprised and excited after we saw from them in the group stages. So kudos to them. Keep grinding. Now we see Twisted Minds shooting at the Expendables from across the map. We can listen in really quickly as they plan their rotation and talk about this battle.
Но с края будет тяжело.
これ映されてもね、マジでわかんないからね、言ってるの。何言ってるか。
Куда еще раз ты хочешь? Waypoint на бойку.
Палки нет.
Или еще дальше глубже в центр.
Чтобы раскопаться.
Да. Только делайте придрайв уже, ребят.
Скорее заскок.
Уже делайте, уже.
Но...
Хуйня.
Четверку заезжать, это равно то, что будет много мортир. Можно смотреть вот эту четверку. Там более будет. У нас еще 7 мортир, да? Можно было бы. Да, у нас, да, у меня еще 3 мортира.
何もわからなかった。
All the information that we needed to know is that there's going to be Twisted Minds doing some scouting. There was nobody really in front of them, so they didn't have too much to worry about. So they're going to be in that hillside to the northeast of Hongshan.
私たちが知る必要のある情報を教えてくれたら何もわからないっていうそういう皮肉です。まだ本社が入ってるのか。ハリコンズでかい動きが手前止まる。ストライク大丈夫。エクスペンダブルズ
I need to find out if Da means yes or no because they were really focused on that. But either way, one Dragon is going to say Daz. He gets a nice little knock here on Gustav, and I don't think there's any rescue missions in the offing. Gustav picked off the car and just left behind, and that will be the end of him. Falcons at 31 points, though. Loss of Gustav only makes him stronger as he will now take the IGL role from the clouds.
22って。
Yes. All the DAs coming out there is okay. Expendables, where do you go? To the north, that's a problem. To the south, we have a different problem brewing, and that's going to be Godlike trying to deal with Myth into a better position. They at least have a foothold in the circle. They have one of their players down at the time. Falcons going to come into the west of that just a little bit. Tyloo's going to be the problem that's going to be in front of them. Myth realizing that there's a point in front of them. They don't want to leave anything on the table right now. They need every point they can find, so they're going to shift back over and go for these. Godlike now kind of locked out a point.
ああ、取られた。
Well, Myth knew that their leaderboard was barren, and they knew that there was a chance to get some, I hate to say this, free-ish points off Godlike, so it was nice of them to come over.
ツイストワイズも大丈夫じゃないかな。30ポイントって言ってるけど。
Says, no, I wanted those points, and we'll chase them off with that mini. Shrimsy also playing this angle, but they are very spread out. The Falcons with a good 3-point counter engagement that pushes Myth back off, but Myth gets to go to a center spot, south center, but still not too bad in terms of the map. Falcons, I still don't think they know where they're going necessarily, or if they are, it's going to be a pretty big transition. Kick is scouting very effectively for them in the air, though.
Yeah, it looks like maybe they're thinking a bit more to the west, go around Tyloo. There is a compound that's going to be right along the zone and all. That doesn't feel too good. Roll Jedi is going to be over there. Looks like Kick is going to be running right over next to Earth. Try to scout this one out. Getting more points, more better. The Falcons perfectly qualified, but going for the shots. Kick is going to find Earth. He's going to get knocked and very quickly sent back down into the...
綺麗だね、4倍フロート。
Kick smokes him, man. Great job. Yeah. They still got it off, but like, and he'll just leave. I love this idea. He's here to cause trouble. Moved away. I think he saw that beacon go off and went over to see if he could just get a kill off of it. So nice play by Kickstart. Good general awareness by the Falcons as they have to find a way to get back into the circle. Let's check in on the Expendables. We saw them fighting early. Trying for a rotation here as they blow past another team. A little bit of drive-by potential as both teams spin in a circle and go, that guy? No, that guy. But I just came from that side. Whenever you see a team rotating opposite you, you have to wonder, am I going into a trap? Like, am I walking into a bad place right now? Why are they leaving?
Oh, it's just so open to the southeast of the center of the circle here. And I mean, it's just make do with what you can find. The circle pops at least a band.
おー、バトリンズ中心近いけど、中心すぎると嫌だから、一回。エニオンズレジェンドの4他上止まるかな。本シャンから撃たれないから。まあまあ穴作ればいいのか今。そっか、穴作ればいいやもう。
Very far around all the hills over into the east, but anyone's legend feeling great, as well as NAVI down to the southeast. We do have a death funnel that's going to be brewing over with Myth as well as Tyloo, maybe Falcons as well. I don't know what's going to be the angle of approach for any of these teams because they're kind of being gate kept out in almost every angle of approach.
I mean, the problem is I haven't seen this many bad raps since like the early 90s. It just feels like there's not a lot of options for these players to go out there and find something that's going to go gold for them, that they're going to find a pocket to win. Everything is congested on the inside, and every entrance route is not only contested, but overlooked by a secondary team. This is an incredibly hard area to play around Hongshan.
Yeah, everybody in Hongshan just kind of keeps surrendering point positions, allowing another squad in there because it's so hard to defend, and you don't want to get caught into too big of a firefight because it's gotten just too many people in here. You assume that somebody's going to third or fourth party you, and that just keep opening up new territory, new avenues of aggression, while Gen.G's been holding down the entirety of the South in this wide split. Sharper's going to be making a committed run right into the face of them, and it's going to be Jedi that goes down, but Thanawat at least manages to make landfall for now and find some safety, but he is just completely surrounded by Gen.G players.
Yeah, Gen.G not interested. They also stacked up near that res. Coming in potentially to cause a little bit of trouble. Bean gets knocked on the ambush. Soul's gonna go ahead and save his man and can actually run in there, try to grab it really quickly and pop that beacon again. The upside of this is in the circle, so if you do get that res and get Bean back to the ground, he'll get re-kitted right quick. Twisted Minds now in a fight with T1. 2 nades prepped, 2 nades tossed, 2 nades exploded, and they don't get, well, they do get 1 knock. That'll open the door for them to make a push here against T1, who's been trying to find real estate for the last 5 minutes.
I mean, Twisted just doing a good job on using the hillside. Oh, the bounce off of the rock goes on an angle that T1 isn't expecting. Tight goes down off of that. Anyone's legend also putting a little bit of work on the real estate trying to bring out Anyone's legend. Just holding down so much territory in the circle, just using the hillside. Honestly, and also kind of using Twisted as a buffer to take out the squads in front of them so that way they can have all this real estate.
Anyone's legend is running 2 compounds basically right now. It's absolutely incredible. T1 getting lambasted up here on the top of the hill. Twisted Mind's excited to have a few extra points on the board as they target that 30. They see 2 more points here available to them. Are going to go after them very aggressively. Raining is finally flushed with that grenade, but Delwyn still watching the fight. Would love Twisted Mind come over and expose themselves.
何かあるようにするのがホリホリですよ。ホリホリメタ。ホリホリなんだよね。ツルハシなんだよ。おー、でもいい感じじゃない？ドトライク。スペンデブルズも端っこちょうどになったし。
Somehow Heather is holding out. That's going to open up anyone's ledge to be way more aggressive back behind Twisted Minds. Can Himas find the angle onto it? Perfectix at least finishes off T1, but the problems are going to be mounting back behind him. They have to quickly respond to this anyone's legend reposition.
Twisted Minds eliminates one aggressive team to turn around and have to face an even more aggressive team. Meanwhile, elsewhere, TWIS just gotten... Unfortunately. That's a bummer of a nade, or a mortar. Watch out for overhangs, kids. Perfectix back into the hole. He sees anyone's legend. He knows they're trying to push a little bit. They go ahead and grab the cars. The question is, can you wait this one out and see them rotate away? Falcons did wipe a team a few seconds ago. They got caught in a secondary fight with MiTH afterwards, who was able to wipe Falcons. But as you can see, it was an exposed position where now 4AM gets to come in and try to flood MiTH at the same time.
Yeah, this is a problem. MiTH doesn't really have a good way to extract from this position. They're going to be leaning more east, but that keeps getting denied and rebuffed. So now they have to go back over to the west. This is going to put them right next to 4 Angry Men again. So it's going to be about speed. Can they get there fast enough? But that's also going to put them on the Hongshan line. And remember, there's a ton of teams coming out of this. Is now anyone's legend continuing to hold the momentum that they started with. 2 players still up. But you just got to send it if you're MiTH, and they find something. And it's just enough kills to take down like who are in trouble at 3 points.
分かんなかったんだけど。
Kiss and Scappy are nuts. 4AM up over the top. He's trying to crush him. He stands up. He starts to make the spray. He gets one knock. Can Kiss do something crazy? Kiss is trying. But Kiss goes down.
いや、今車乗ったのうまいけど、あれ上から落ちてなかったらあったぞ。なんであれ上から落ちんねん。車がちょっと浮いてるからって。
Vitality's having to leave up into the north. They're going to get kind of close, but not close enough to really get too involved in this twisted fight just yet. Alpha's going to be taking the shots at Gen G as they're going to be flanking in from the south. And you got to give it to Twisted. This is anyone's legend high ground that's had control for a while versus Twisted that's been fighting for a while. And they're surviving. They're weathering the storm of what's going on here. It doesn't feel good, but it has also stalled out a lot of what anyone's legend was wanting to do. They wanted to get control of here really fast. And finally, one of the players goes down in Perfectix. Just one left up for Twisted, and finally they fall. But the damage was done. The timing is all over the place for anyone's legend now.
Yep, so and while that was happening, really nice play by GAM, the Expendables. They had a spot where they knew it would be a prio for a team. They waited for 4AM to crash that spot, and they preset the mortars, wiped the entire team, and now get to move forward on the south, objectively by themselves. Let's jump over to Alpha as they push up on Gen G, who's been defending against them for as long as I can remember in this match. Nades are going to come back out. Panzerfaust, it's Panzer Joust time, baby!
Gotta hit the angle though, and as you start to move in closer, it just becomes scarier and scarier. Gen G got one of their players down the hallway, starting to be a problem. Goes for the Panzer on the outside, doesn't really connect it the way they want. Soul could be in some trouble over here. We also have Supers taking some shots in at them from the north. So now it is going to be Gen G in a slightly pinched position. The circle abandons them yet again, and they know that they're going to have to move. Tycon just trying to find some nades out every single window, anything they can find. Gen G is just having to dodge through it all, and do Supers try to get involved. Blue Zone's back behind her, going to slow it down. Tycon does go down, but Alpha's still trying to get control over this position.
手前どっか当たったな。
outside. Here comes DN from the other side. Gen G is now the filling in a sandwich that they don't want to be a part of as the soup comes forward. Simon gets a nice knock on Salute. Alpha used to be vicious, now just monsters as they charge through the warehouse.
Oh, Gen G had control over this position for so long, but just pinched too many angles. Alpha got one side of it, Super's going to get the other, but it's going to be a time to leapfrog yet again. Alpha trying to get in position early to see if maybe they can gatekeep this out. Oh, pushing in at the same time.
Oh, run set.
Dion runs in.
Oh, run set. Oh, 打ち切った。
Absolutely demolishes the Supers.
Who's dying now, baby? As Alpha comes out with that wipe. 3 men in the warehouse with the fake car.
もうダメだ。全員落ちちゃう。
Alpha to go. It is just getting absolute catastrophe here in the west. We still have Vitality. It's got to try to get in the circle, but the Expendables are taking more control.
ポイント持ってったね。まだ4人生存だし、フェローボーダーライン落ちたっぽいな。
One must do what one must. Out they are, but 4 stand. Alpha will be happy with how that fight went. Extra points on the board.
じゃあいいのって言ったもん勝ちのとこあるよね。
NAVI's got their side of the map plus a little bit of ridge. They're in a good space. Vitality and anyone's legend have to face off, and they have to do it now. No one's in a third-party position, however, if they can get this before Expendables slides up from the south.
Okay, a little bit of a pacing reset going on right now as Vitality is trying to find a way to approach this. The Moss to the north knows where they're at, but just can't quite find the angles. Everybody's kind of dug in a bit more. Expendables keep taking pot shots at Vitality as well. So pinched position for Vitality, kind of still trapped on the outside. Tombu does find Gedrox. That's going to make it more complicated. What do as you try to creep forward? Everything's just being thrown at you, and somehow Anyone's Legend still has utility, still has things left after how long they were having to contest up against Twisted.
Tough call for Vitality as they kind of grind out of this one. No cover whatsoever. The knock's going to come out as Duck Juice has the nades to toss forward. Anyone's Legend has all the time and the space. So you can see it down below on the map just a little bit. Gam the Expendables is debating on if they want to come up here and cause trouble or not.
Okay, shots come out from Melas. He needs to hit this, but there's just too many players lined up for Gam the Expendables. Every peak is heavily punished as it keeps going back over to Sololzy. He's the only one inside the circle right now for Vitality. Finally falls. Blue Zone putting in the work. But Anyone's Legend has to try to regroup now against. It's going to be a very strong position coming up from NAVI. They've got two lined up on the ridgeline watching this firefight. Akatori going to be the guy finally taking the shots at the Expendables, and that might provide a moment of reprieve coming up for Anyone's Legend to try to get back into the circle as well.
NAVI's going to have an interesting game against them as they've got to lock this down. They've got a decent spot, a lot of cover fire, but they're going up against two teams who know each other very, very well. They've played together in some cases. They've trained in the same region, and that often will work against you because it means they understand what the other team might do and could choose to just avoid those fights, right? Gam can play the south side of that ridgeline, just let Anyone's Legend have the top, and Navi may have their back up against a two-sided wall here if they are not careful about how they handle this next collapse.
So it's mostly just the lineup with the Expendables versus Navi. Anyone's Legend still just trying to hold the high ground up. Expendables just keeping an eye on the leapfrog. So the ridgeline that we're looking at right now is kind of the core of what's going to be the center of this circle. There is the compound to the north that really only has Sololzy in, and it feels like both Gam as well as Navi are kind of fine with letting that kind of sit that way and be in Anyone's Legend control. They know that the focus is going to be leaning mostly into this road. So that's why we see this happening. Nobody knows exactly how this next circle is going to pop and the way it's going to be set. So it's going to be kind of eyeing out both sides, north and south, starting to set up fortifications because you don't know what angle of approach is going to be most useful for you coming up in just a second.
When in doubt, dig a hole. The beauty of the pickaxe. In the old days, you sort of just kind of jiggle peeked and risked your helmet. Now your IGL can say, get out the pickaxe and start digging. It's the best way to keep an over-aggressive player from pushing out. Too bad they didn't have it in Valley today.
As an old school call out, and I appreciate it.
なんかオーダーの人がその前のめりすぎるプレイヤーを抑えるために今は合理的に合理まあなんか合理的にその前のめりのプレイヤーを止めてツルハシもっと早く掘れって言えるよね一番その前のめりのプレイヤーを抑える方法ですねみたいなこと言ってる
Their organized digging there for a minute was beautiful. That's what I like about Anyone's Legend. Even their digging is well planned. But this is what you do with it, right? You've got the time. You build yourself a forward push. You prepare for a potential attack of some sort, and you look good in your ghillie suit while you're doing it. Look at this. Look at oh my gosh, cinematic beauty. This is what happens when the last circle slows down.
これなんかエスパのスキンとかで穴掘りずっとやるの嫌だよね。
Just a little bit further. You guys are almost there. I'd say about another 20 or 30 seconds. You know, go ahead and smoke it out.
Just keep digging. Just keep digging.
This is one of the longest trenches I think that we've ever seen.
This reminds me of the smoke Ibiza used that one time, but it's a trench instead. He just. This is
what was it?
Awesome.
PNC when Germany was just digging those long trenches. I don't know. It's going to be between the two of them, but they're going to get there. They will dig their way into this new circle, and it's just going to be kind of waiting for whenever we have to move, and the blue zone becomes the antagonist, mostly towards Anyone's Legend. They still have a little bit of that wall outside that they play in their compound, but again, it's just so close to the zone wall, it just provides no control of the circle.
What are they going to do with all this dirt? They haven't built any storage boxes to put it in. They can't just be dropping it. That's crazy.
Where does the dirt go? It's magical. It just kind of disappears.
The dirt go? Arango, it's a magical, or no, it's Arando. It's a magical place. The world of PUBG. Crazy.
Okay, here's our first Catalyst move, and it is going to be the Expendables, just trying to get into a better position. I think that they've got a read on how anyone's Legend's going to be set up. This is extremely favorable for Navi, so they're going to counter move on it, use their cars at roughly the same time to set up more of a defense over into the east. It means anyone's Legend, Gam, the Expendables are close to each other, but there is the verticality that comes in play. Anyone's Legend can't really peek over the top of the ridgeline without getting punished by Navi, so these neighbors are now kind of just stuck next to each other. And while Navi does have control over the east, it does also mean that it's two teams kind of stacked up against them if they go for a bad peak.
まあね、なんか PUBG さんが TPP の方、TPP ご所望の人たちの方が多いって言ってるからね。わかんないけど、ソースは。
Your game was over if you had a bad shift with the blue. And the fact that you can dig yourself into at least a progressing position, I think has actually been a massive game change in a lot of ways. I think this destructible terrain probably the biggest change since vaulting. In terms of impact, massive impact.
Oh yeah, Duck Juice managed to spot out Boostic. That knock might be recoverable, but I mean he's on that other Dorito, and it's a gamble to go for the run over. There are lots of smokes now starting to happen into the west. Expecting some more to brew out of this. Nades not really connecting the way that anybody wants him right now. Burning a lot of the utility that could be used in the later stages. Spiro does spot out Glories. Nice. Does get the knock onto him, but is more problems starting to mount for Navi. If they gotta start taking care of some of this, Himas is gonna make it a little bit easier. Go ahead and pick up the flush on it. Sololz, he spots out Theorist, and Navi is just the focal point for it all. But now the high ground starting to pop off for High Man.
ホリホリあんま関係ないっていうね。
Legend up high, but Spyro sees him. He tries to make a play out of the
ファイト
smoke,
自
but
体
they
は。
will be eliminated. 10 kills for anyone's Legend. It's not over yet. Sololzi's got a P90 and a prayer, takes Spyro out, and now he wants to do it again.
強すぎる。
There's the double spray.
P90 弱体化しましょう。
It's anyone's Legend
こ
walking
れはね、
away
みんなが言うと思う。
big win. And Navi also showing up in that last match. It was a good one. It was a tough one. It got
これはみ
aggressive
ん
in
な思う
the
よ。
middle, and then man, it slowed down into a chess match at the end. Let's get Porosaurus and Gibson back in here. What a mind game going into that final circle, Poro.
I mean, it's tough too if you're Navi, right? Like, they've had a terrible day so far, and they had an opportunity there at the end to try to make something happen, and just the weird terrain, the ditches and trenches everywhere. Like, what do you even do about that at that point? And they end up coming out of there. It was what? It was third place, but 1 kill. Like, that's not going to get it done. I hate it.
I just wasted the best spawn, everybody. I'm really sorry. I asked if it was a mind. Yeah, I asked if it was a mind game or a mind game.
You're gonna resay it, huh?
Yeah, you gotta
That's
redo it.
wild.
I'm sorry.
I've
I
never seen anybody
apologize.
force joke so hard in my life.
P90 って SMG なのか。一応 SMG 部類か。
That's fine. Bye.
So it was a slow late game, but that was a symptom of how fast this section of the game is right here, what we're getting into, where it was kind of this mid-late, not a lot of places for anyone to go outside of Hongshan, and I think that that's why we saw so much digging, because I think the 4 teams who survived the chaos going into 7 and 8 were like, well, like we don't have a lot because everything was messy so heavily to survive this part right here.
Whenever we look at it, the Expendables actually starting to find a lot more successes in this firefighting, and you feel a bit bad for anyone's Legend and certain factors of how these firefights went, because they were having to burn a lot of utility to deal with what was going on in the north, specifically what was happening coming out of Yongshan. And I think what Poro was kind of follow up on, it really did feel like Navi should have had a lot more in the tank for those later stages, just given the fact that they managed to avoid all of this mess in the west.
Is that what you're implying, Poro?
I was just distracted by the 3 greatest PUBG players I've ever seen. Dian, because he spits hot fire.
It was impressive, dude. So that play was sick though, right? Putting the guys in the car, pretending they're leaving after the fight ends, and then having them just walk inside and dunk on the opponent's team was super cool to watch. They got out in 4th, but whatever. That was worth a win in my book. Anyone's Legend comes out with the victory. Himass playing Himass stuff. 720 damage. Here's that question, Gibson. This is a real one. Who gets the MVP? The man with more knockouts or the man with insane damage?
I give it to the kills, right? It's the finishers that matter, the ones that get the job done. So I'm going to give it to Himass for the kill count. That's just what I'm going to do.
Amen to that. secured. It's good to see Himass playing at top form. I feel like there was a period here, Poro, where it wasn't bad Himass, but it wasn't Himass. You know what I mean? Well, like over the entire year. I think Gibson hit it good. He had a solid joke yesterday where he's like, sometimes there's a split in that name, and sometimes it's just the him. And it's nice to see him playing as him instead of the other option.
マガジンも唯一無二だし。
Look, they were trash during group stages. Like 25 points is just not what you expect.
性能がもうアサルトっぽいんだよ。
Stepping up here today. Started the day off a little bit slow. Even with a 12th place, they got 4 kills. So you can't be too mad about that. But then followed up with a second, a third, and now a first place. Like fantastic performance from anyone's legend. Going to be fun to see them in the final stage. Hopefully, we'll get to see this version of Himass that we saw today.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. All right, let's take a look at the leaderboard real quick. We're going to get over to the
ポイントの取り方も違
overall
うよね。
This one's cool. It's nice to see how much the Expendables and anyone's legend come up with. It's sad to see Navi, who I thought was in a winning position, only walked away with 6 on the total there. Has got to be gutting for them because of what they needed. Let's look at the overall leaderboard. What we need is the top 8 to advance to the final. Anyone's Legends, Supers, Falcons, good to go. Twisted Minds, Vitality, very close. Then we get to the tough stuff, 26, 25, 24. Genuinely, break this down for me. Let's start with Gibson. Which teams on the right can close that gap, and how scared should the left teams be?
I draw the line at Alpha Gaming. I think anyone below that year's too many intangibles and variables for them to make it, but I think Alpha, Myth,
いやでもね、誰でもあるよ。ドンカツしたら。
and based on what we saw,
だいぶ
Petrichor
む
will
ずいけど。
definitely have one big map in them if they need it.
Poro, if you have... Okay, so I guarantee one person on the left is going to fall and one person on the right is going to rise.
At least.
Give me which of those... You can choose which one you want to say. Which team on the left falls or which team on the right rises?
Oof.
I put you on the spot. It's a tough one.
I'm looking at it, and it's tough to say because like there's a lot of teams on that cut line that are just sitting right above it that I don't have a lot of confidence in. Like Sharper get that first win to start off the day, and then it's just been nothing but downhill since then. Then you look at Gen G, like I feel like Gen G and Falcons came into today with the exact same strategy. It's just that Gen G hasn't had that one game kind of go their way yet, where they get a little bit of circle left to go along with their aggressive play style. So if they don't get it in game 5, obviously they're kind of done. But it feels like Sharper's kind of been falling off. It feels like 4AM kind of found their stride there. Made in Thailand. Obviously, we saw what they did in the final game yesterday. They managed to climb all the way till almost making the cut line despite only having 4 points in the first 4 games. So I don't know, man. It's tough to say.
All right, well, Poro builds hedges around the question. Let's check in with the stage where Jinxie has got a little interview.
Hello everyone, we're having Shrimsy here. Let's say hello to the audience.
Hello.
Yeah, it's only one game left. What are you gonna do in the last game? Any prepared any plan?
We're already qualified, so we're just gonna go out there, have fun, get as many kills as possible, and just try to play the game and enjoy ourselves.
All right. And what was there a moment today where you felt anything is clicked?
Probably game 3. We won the game, and we were aggressive. We took space. We were quiet when we needed to be and loud when we needed to be. So everything felt good that game.
Good to hear that. Anything you want to say to the audience, like the fans support you always?
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Thank you to Falcons as well for supporting us. And without the fans, we wouldn't have a job. So thank you guys.
Good to hear that, and wait to see you in the last game.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Let's go. Bye.
We all chase that one more game. With Lenovo Legion, it's always within reach.
あれ？あ、インターバルか。すごい急だな。インターバルです。
AMD touches the lives of billions, powering the technology you use every day. From data centers to your personal device, automotive to automation, curiosity to creativity, business to breathtaking, AI to awe. And we're just getting started. AMD. Together we advance.
For the first time ever, you get next-gen power in gaming earbuds, giving you flawless wireless. That's plug and play. Now you've got 100+ audio presets at your fingertips. So you can hear bad guys better, hear whatever you want better. That's a giant leap for earbuds, and a new way to play for glory.
We got next, we ready to flex, we're ready to rock, give it all you got, we got next. Y'all rockin' to the top, can't stop it, must be off your rocker, then you gon' stop her. We got next.
Welcome back. For every season, there is a time, and for the time on these teams, it is now. You have to make a move. You cannot be in the bottom of this leaderboard. 8 teams will go through to the final. They will have a chance to play in the winner's bracket next week. 8 teams will be knocked out. They will sit in silence. They will struggle with what they did wrong, and they will have to find answers to those questions without the ability to scrim and without excessive training while they watch their compatriots get better. That is truly what is on the line. It's tempting sometimes when we watch these matchups to say, it's not that much on the line, it's just the top 8. The cutoff is a little bit different. It's not. There's so much in this bracket in particularly, I think more important than almost any other to these teams in that cutoff.
Yeah, and we still have so much like quality that's in our bottom 8 right now that can spin this leaderboard around and is close enough to really have an opportunity to do it. And I don't know. When we look into this, there's so much momentum. For 3 weeks of action, we're about to be hitting a point where somebody's going to be sitting out for almost a week of it, and that is just a mental break. You don't want any of that to go down. You've got to go in, and this is where you need to make sure you secure yourself. You find that big momentum. I will say, last game of the day, Myth always plays well.
That is my biggest fear. I'm caught on camera sticking my finger in my mouth or something while you got a delay. All right, equipment issue. That
Game 5
is
equipment issue again.
right. It's like a thing, but also what a stressful time to have that happen. Like you're about to go in and play for your life, and then there's this because they went back, they took a break, they talked to their coach, they got a plan, they come marching out, they're ready to play, and then you got to sit. And I think that is like icing the kicker, right? I mean, that can be really tough, Gibson, for teams to deal with.
Yeah, you get the adrenaline up, you're like, here we go, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, wait, somebody over there has chewed on the power cord, and now we gotta wait for the new computer to land on over and get back up and running. But you were speaking about the build-up of this game is real, right? Not only if you get into that top 8, now do you get to play over the weekend. That means you're playing for prize money, it means you're playing for those all-important PGC points for the end of the year. And it means that you're also buying yourself a second chance. Like, worst case scenario, if you get top 8 today, is you have a second chance next week. You lose, you sit out for a whole week, and then you get the benefit of a best of 5. Not to mention the fact that there's stability in the weekend. It's 10 maps, not 5. You know it's the same teams every single map. You've got the relaxed ability to understand the lobby more. So I think the weekend is going to get easier from a planning perspective than these best of 5 straight shootouts.
As Rebecca Black said, Friday, it can be a challenge, and you got to make the moves when you can. Also, I think you're right. The weekend shifts metas, and that's something you want to be a part of, not something you want to watch and try to figure out as it's happening for someone else. We got the equipment issues with a bit of a delay. Let's go back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, Matchum. I asked which of these teams do you think rises up or falls off based on your experience with them or their previous performance. Let's talk cut line. Is there a team that you're watching to either rise or fall?
I mean, I was saying Myth feels like they always play great on this last game of the day. I mean, that's where we saw them almost kind of avoid this situation yesterday. So I have eyes on them to try to make something happen. I've got to say, I love Sharper, always an underdog story, but it's just not been happening. Started off the day well, slide into slide into slide.
Look at that personality. I'm a big fan of Winda.
Actually,
right? I stand Winda. All right, so great for Win. Let's go over to you. I did not ask you yet, Gibson. Is there a team that you're watching that you're scared of the slide or you're excited for the rise?
I think I got to agree with Poro when he said Sharper. They're the team that I kind of fear might slide on down. And as far as the rise is concerned, I still think there's a couple of teams that can get up there, but it's all going to come down to the flight path and the drops, because it just seems so often that whoever gets that first zone shift is going to get at least 5, 6, 7 or more points.
Yep. I gotta say, I'm a little worried about Genji sitting on that 8th place position, 24 points, only 2 to chase. Yeah. Wait, really? Like you're not worried about Genji? Why aren't you worried about Genji?
Nah, because D's gonna go out and get 2 or 3 kills this game. Like, it's easy for them.
I get that. And no, I agree with you, and I do think that D is nuts, but I don't think that it's gonna be strong enough for him to carry here. It's him and Soul have been playing this 1-2 punch, and I do also think that they are a team. Listen, Soul's a big player. He's a big brain, he's a big ego, and I do think he has a big problem with being mid-pack. And I wonder if that'll have an impact on the crew as he tries to lead them into sort of victory on this one. So that is my bigger worry, is like, you saw 4AM. They were chilling. They were having a great time. Will they transfer that attitude in? And if they do, I think it goes well for them. I worry that Genji sometimes gets too far down on themselves. And so that's my pick for potentially let's go over the ropes. Let's look at Shrimzy versus Example. 2 absolute killers in the game. Kills are different, but the damage, it really favors Shrimzy, Poro.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons has been having a great day so far today. And again, just you could tell what the plan was when they came in. Like, let's just go out, we'll hunt points as much as we can. Hopefully we get that one game that puts us in a good position to win. And it worked out great for them here so far. So good enough to get them to the final stage, but they will have to find, they're going to have to find something for this weekend when they get to the final stage, because I still feel like there's something that's just not quite clicking there just yet. So we'll see.
Both of these teams feel like they've been rough.
Yeah, for
okay,
sure.
Go
So
ahead,
anyone
Gibson.
knows the fact that Example done 1,600 damage and hadn't had a single headshot, by the way? That's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, I've got eyes on the Twisted thing, and it feels like while Example's popping off and finding kills, when you look at the total kill counts for this, what it was, Example with 11, right? But Twisted only has 18 total kills. That means across the other 3, that's only 7 kills. That's I don't want to say a weaker, but that's a far less kill count than the rest of the group kind of pulls in. Usually like Perfectix, Lou, Batulans are all finding something themselves. Right now, it feels like a lot of Example is having to pull the weight in as far as the kill comes out.
And also, it feels like they're having to fight for it. Okay, so Falcons and Twisted Minds, they're in 3rd and 4th, but they're in 3rd and 4th in the Survivor Series. This is not a team that I'm used to have to pull some weights and bootstrap themselves out of a tough position in previous years. These are 2 teams that are consistently picked every time we do an event to possibly be the champions, to win a PGC at some point, to dominate EWC, and they have a historical context of doing just that. We know that they're going to advance just fine, but we also know that there have been teams that have faced incredible challenges in these 5 games, and in doing so, they are in a tight race of 8 teams in the mid-pack battling for a couple of points difference to advance to the grand final, or have to sit for 1 week's time and hope for the best. The plane is in the air. The path is unfair. It's gonna be chaos. Let's send it over to your minstrels of mayhem. It is Gibson and Porosaurus.
Okay, it's time to go Poro. The way he said your name there, like, what do you think? It was a bit like.
I always, any time Toffees throws over to me, I always feel happy about the way he's thrown over to me, because it pumps me up, man. It gets the energy up. It sets us up for what is going to be a wild and crazy final game, which is exactly what everybody's expecting. And Delwyn already, oh Tyloo, that's not how you want to start.
Is Toffees the best game thrower that we have in the business? And I mean that in both sense of the words.
be.
You know, he throws games, but he also throws great to games.
Oh no. I will.
これはもうミリベじゃない？
I'm waiting to see if he
ああ、
hits
違
that
うんだ。
freaking shot, man. Just shoot it. All right,
He
there we
wasn't
go.
helping you. He was like, please just get a kill so we can move
ワンチャン。
on. He was like, nah, I'm not gonna hit that shot.
I know. I didn't want to get. I didn't want
ワン
to
チャ
get
ンまたミリベだ
confidence.
な。
Well, okay. So Tyloo gets everybody still
しかも
alive.
ミリベになっ
That's
たら
good
同
news. Bad news
じ
is that
あ
circle
たり
looking
だね。
fairly reminiscent of what we saw in match
位置
number
的に。
one. This one's favoring the main island a little bit more. Or is it? I don't know. This almost feels like a mirror, doesn't it?
Yeah, saying the word favoring with circles like this really is always gambling. The big difference for me is it's not just Twisted Minds by themselves on Mully Island this time. They're joined by 4 angry men as they've got 2 orgs there. Sharper, remember they were able to take advantage of this circle the first game of the day. They're on that bridge once more. This is where I think you're really tested though, Paro. Like you are a team on the cusp. You didn't play well in groups. You found yourself getting a ton of points in the first game of the day. Now do you start making rash decisions, right? You know, like, do you go, oh, I feel like we need to make something happen, and they start making mistakes? Or do you think they can relax and just kind of wait and see what happens with the position they have?
Shoot, they definitely can't relax. That is not something. It is not a relaxing position for them to be in right now, and hopefully they realize it now. The fact that they did get this circle again with their drop spot is good news for sure.
わかんないからね、もうこれも。
But they're also once
振り
again
切る
in
の
that
か
position where
それとも安定を狙うのか、
guard
ま
that bridge. They're having to
あ、
make
安定
that
狙った方がいいん
decision
だろうけど。
about how they want to play it out.
4M は
Already,
正直振り切っ
you
ちゃ
brought
った
up a
方
good
がいい。
point is that this
これ
game,
も
while the
北の
circle
方
is
が
very similar, the playing path completely different.
割合的には多いから、もう
Falcons
行かないと
dropping
ね。
on Stalber
お
in game number one. So
ー、
that
す
just
ごい
kind of
ね。
goes to show you how
T1
spread out
キルポイン
everybody
ト欲
was
しいか
across
ら
the map. This time that
追いかけ
playing
に行
path
った。
going on to the south is putting everybody more right on top of each other.
T1 は
As we're
キルポイ
seeing
ントな
already
いと
3 minutes
上がれないからね。
T1 getting real close there.
できるだけ
Jedi, it looks like he'll be able to escape that free and clear.
ファイト
Yeah,
し
like
たい。
you're probably looking right now and you're wondering like 6th through to 13th. Where or drop, like who's in a good spot, who's in trouble. You know, like T1, 5 points by the way. Like we were singing this
Terrible
team's
day.
praises. This has been awful from them. You'd even argue at this point, Paul, like is a chicken dinner, like a chicken dinner with 10 kills is not going to be enough for them. Like they're going to need to frag out and win just to get a chance of qualification here. So I would effectively rule them out. Like Tyloo is one of the teams, even to me, like even on 14 points, you need a lot of things to go right for you to cross that 8th spot threshold.
Yeah,
10
Tyloo,
キル超過で
just have to have things go
ワンチャン上がれ
their
る
way. T1
レベル
even more so.
か。
And
きつい
T1
な。
actually in the expendables kind of rolling by really close and haven't taken any shots yet, and that's making the expendables feel a little bit more confident in pushing in. So this might be a bait from T1 as Heather is going to hold the line with that shotgun in hand. But you see the Panzerfaust come out. Doesn't matter. Glory's not even going to be able to get it out here. Heather going to try to go for the flush as Tanwa's going to run out of Huang F, but that grenade is going to take him down, and now the rest of T1 comes running.
Yeah, I was talking about how many kills they're going to need if they want to even have a chance of getting there. They've got 1 on the board, but the expendables look like they're playing at a much higher level. They're on 27 points. They're by no means safe here at all. So if they get the squad wipe, if they get a 4 points, that's the expendables in.
Yeah, no, the expendables, they have not had a very good day either. Like the first 2 games were pretty rough. The last 2, a little bit better. Put them up where they are now, 27 points, but down to just 2 players. They had to send it into the compound. T1 had to do it as well because Sharper had Thunders and Earth Zapalui kind of keeping eyes on the situation from afar. They couldn't afford to just stick around outside the compound and make their way in. So T1
30ポイントっぽいな。
be very, very cautious about how they're putting the work in here as you see the shotgun starting to get picked up.
Sharper of a decision to make. They know this fight's happening and they know the expendables are 2 points ahead of them. They could push in here, get 2 or 3 of these kills, and then relax and breathe and be playing at the weekend. But I just don't think that they're the sort of team that would aggressively make that choice. You know, it's not what we see them do. Whereas if this had been like, if it was NAVI in this situation, if it was like a Falcons, you know they'll be looking to third party in this because they know if they wipe these teams out, they're in.
いなくなりかけのとこに追い打ちをかければ自分たちのスペースは 確保できるから、まあ攻めてもいいんじゃないかなっていうのを言ってるね。2ポイント差だからね、エクスペンダブルスと。ここで3ポイント取れれば、自分たちの位置はもう確定で入るから、エクスペンダブルスが落ちるかどうか。まあでもそういったチームではないからやらないでしょう。
The smokes just keep getting laid down as T1, it looks like trying to bait him out with the vehicle, but Expendable's not biting.
Yeah, Expendable set up. You've got the sawn-off shotgun in one position. I think at one point they were seeing if maybe they could get some utility in. 3 nades in the back pocket of Raining. Like if he lands one of those, you can bet yourself they'll float up the stairs at that point. But for now, this is the 10th stage of the fight. Both teams, there's both teams afraid to make a mistake. Like at this point in time, the Expendables are doing what they have to do. They've got less numbers. They're on the top floor. For them, it's all about just holding those stairs at this point in time.
Expendables stand to lose a lot more off of this as well. T1 kind of needs these points if they're going to make a miracle run.
早めにこのファイトを終わらして、次のファイト行きたいよね。
That's a big L to take for that squad. That is a fantastic player on most days. Despite the fact that they have not found things going their way here today, as you see he had just jump peeking, trying to see if he can maybe get an idea of where one of these guys from the Expendable are, but nobody's revealing anything. As you said, just holding the stairs for now.
DNS, the supers of an angle from afar onto the back end of this fight as the nade's tossed in towards Tanvu, but Tanvu's going to go down the stairs now, so I think he saw how close that nade was, didn't want a second one to come his way. The stun grade's there, and is trying to get a fish, but what a great molly that was, Poro. That's going to slow everything down. And look at Tanvu getting some loot off the back of that too.
Yeah, that's a really nice molly from Tanvu. Just to slow things down. As you see now, it's just raining. Holding the line. I guess they're just kind of sitting here waiting to see if they can maybe catch one of these guys, but also just being cautious because the circle's about to pop. You see Vitality, Myth already on the way over here. Petrichor Road also in making their way down. The new circle has going to go on to the main island. As now T1, they're still inside zone, but they're right on the edge. They would love to be able to clean this out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, T1 going to send end with a shotgun up to the front line, gets onto the balcony, which is a clever play. He finds the off angle with a shotgun, and they get that first knock onto the Expendables. Duckjuice will trade it back, but the Expendables are out. And suddenly we have our first clear cut line. 27 points from the Expendables is one target teams can now aim for at the very least. And for T1, is this the end? Because here come Navi.
Oh, boy, that's huge that Ferris gets that knock. That could have been danger, but Type not able to get anything off of Navi. So Navi doing exactly the right thing. This is actually, I don't know what they saw or if they just were following the kill feed, if they had a read, what information they were able to gather, but that was a perfect timing on that compound crash. And taking down Type instantly is huge, as now Navi is going to be in the T1 role and T1 is in the Expendables role.
Yeah, the big difference though is the numbers, right? T1 had to do it with 3. Navi have all 4 players alive and kicking, and you'll just see them play it the exact same way. Over on the other section of the map, you've got All Gamers Global. Anyone's why do I keep saying All Gamers? It's Anyone's Legend pushing up on the supers. They'll find that first kill. Another 2 players are down, leaving Deal as the last player standing. Can Destroy close this one out?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, I mean, you like to see it if you're every other team in the lobby. The 2 top teams fighting it out. Supers is out, but they will be making it to the final stage.
上のチームがいなくなることによって、下のチームが、
see how they approach this fight. We saw what T1 was doing.
そうね、上がれる可能性が出てくるけど、キルポイントが少なくなるからね、その分。
To the side to see if he can maybe spot out something, but T1 does have plenty of utility still left to play around with, and they're going to play the balcony, something that Expendables did not do, as we see 4AM getting eliminated, so that's them not going to be making any there. Nice shots from Ferris will get in low, but not enough to get the knock.
Airburst. He tried to read and jumping in the window, but just mistimed it just a little bit. Spiro, he's switched over, he's got the UMP in his hands. I think that's Sharper finally starting to put some pressure down, realizing that with the expendables out, there's an opportunity to get above them in the leaderboard and just create some bit of comfort for you and yourself. But this is the problem for T1 now. NAVI has got to go inside the building, and you really need those shotguns to ring out true.
Expendables こう落ちる可能性ある
A
から
lot of
ね
points going off the board. It has gotten very violent, very early here in our final game of the day. As the new circle will pop, it's going to land right on top of MiTH and Godlike in that compound. We'll see LFP1 and Fana go ahead and rejoin Tony and Haven, as they will be uncomfortable neighbors for the time being. But T1 and Navi, this is outside of zone, so they'll have to come to a head. Ferris is going to get taken down by Ian.
人気チームではあるからわかんないね。
down and
ちょっ
decide
と
do they go for that res or do they just push us three?
確かに
Oh, he wants to take advantage of it. Yeah.
最初から予選に生かしてもいいとは思う。
That BZ is not really what Navi needed to throw with that. Is it snow? It's a smoke.
一回ね。
Yeah, I thought it was a BZ. Tried the smoke out end, but either way, it seems like the arrested three players are going to get ready.
インバイトされるからって言ってなんか。
Raining has that vector.
おーいい。おおマジか。てかナビマジ逆にぽくないね。早く上がれと思ってると思うよ後ろの人たちは。
Can you get the blue chips and find somewhere nearby to bring your teammates
これ起こせる可能性あるの？
3, so you can't afford to do it. So I think that's exactly what Reigning is about
マジか。
to do. Go get your teammates
ナ
back.
ビ
You've
落ちちゃった
got 8
よ。
kills, a few more
あ、起
and
こしに
a
行く
win.
ね。
And
あ、
you
これ
could
T1 まだあるぞこれ。
huge success here and now. Vitality looks like on the
8
other
ポイントで
side
し
of
ょ。
the coin, they are going to dig
いや、ある
themselves
あ
in
るあ
inside
る
the。
全
face.
然あるよ。これまあドンカツしないといけないけど。
Should be safe, but it doesn't quite feel that way either. So I like them just digging trenches and playing this spot.
Yeah, nothing really feels safe just yet unless you're over 30 points. As you just never know what could happen. T1 getting 8 points already to start things off as Gustav and Lee will trade grenades. Lee will just hop in the vehicle, get on out of Dodge as Falcons will take over that south side of Quarry. Tyloo will take shots at him from range, and now inside Ferry Pier, Twisted Minds having to make their way through, but they've got Alpha with rooftop positions. Ooh, Diane, he did him dirty last time around. Maybe see if he can do the same thing to Twisted Minds.
One shot, just needs to get one headshot, and that opens up the window for Alpha to flood in towards Twisted Minds. Now, remember, Twisted Minds are the team that have to push further in. They're outside the circle. They're going to start wrapping their way up. Nice shots onto Diane, and he doesn't able to send back any on the other way. And it looks like Twisted Minds are going to send it in here.
They realize the guy that's holding him, but the roof has got nothing but a multi, so that's going to allow them to get right on their doorstep. Batulins.
あれでも最初から249撃たれてたら危なかったけどね。
Air burst grenade to take down Diane, and now Alpha is down to 3. The rest of the boys are going to have to rush over here and see if they can maybe catch Twisted before they get in position, and they will catch Perfectix.
Simon finding that kill, so we're back to a 3 versus 3. Alpha on 16 points. Make that 17 as they confirm one of those Twisted Minds players. But Tulins walks on in and loses the fight with level 3 gear, leaving it all down to example. And can he set the tone here for this side? Alpha moving up to 18 now. Can they get closer and closer to that cut line? They're going to step inside and regroup for a second, and that might allow Twisted Minds to go for the rest.
サバイバルステージ、ナビは。
Goodness, Twisted Minds going to be sweating it out here if they are not able to get somebody back on their feet. Example,
負け方があんまよろしくないよね。
See if he can fish with
なんか
dynamite, but not
ナイストライで
find
終わる
anything.
のはいいん
Go
だ
for
け
the
ど
res now
なかな
on
か
Blue.
ナイストライと言いづらい
Back up to 2
負け
strong.
方
You
してる。
see Alpha already on the move. A good grenade will get him low, but it's not going to be enough. Simon T, though, that flanking angle, he might see him, but the smoke's going to conceal him for now.
Yeah, the BZ's going to catch him though. Powell will get that one on the Lou, and inside the Blue, Example's taking a ton of damage. He will try to first aid up through it, but he can't. And that is big points for Alpha, up to 22.
27、29。
Just 4 points off of Gen
27がとりあえず足ラインのところ。
Another Hail Mary push, but this time it looks like anyone's legend were ready for it.
They got players back, but they immediately push into ALAG. Destroy down to 22 HP. We'll try to throw some exploratory grenades. They're not going to find what they need, though. Type is now the last player left alive, and he is getting taken very, very low. He's got to play on the outside of the compound itself, which is scary, scary stuff, and Destroy's spotted him out. They know exactly where he is. We'll take the shots. We'll take down T1, and that will be the end of their run here this weekend.
And that is great news as well for those teams on the cutoff mark. Like the fact that T1 were able to pick up 8 points means that the teams that were really close to them weren't able to get them. So at this point, if you're
そうだね、T1 が8ポイント持ってるってことはキルポイント。他のチーム、それが欲しいチームは取れないってことだからね。
Tyloo's Lee will dip into the bathroom. There's no water there that can extinguish that fire, but he can heal himself up just a little bit. But Tyloo on 14 points. I don't know.
Alpha 応援したいけどね。
It's going to be easy for them to get over that line, and Vitality aren't going to make it easy for them either.
They'd have to get to work immediately. And right now they have one player from Vitality pinned out, but the utility just not at all where it needs to be. It's a good molly. That will prevent one dragon from continuing to peek that corner. Might be enough to get Levante out of there. As the last, actually not the last player alive. He's got a teammate somewhere. I don't see where he, oh, I see him now. Yeah, Gedrock's down south in the hills, so nowhere near this. So this is all the Levante show.
And you know what? I would watch. I'm a Levante fan. I know what he can do in situations like this. As Tiggleton gets a big link shot way off to the south on towards Alpha, who are up to 20 points, and Falcons could extinguish that Alpha flame. Maybe he might turn them into the betas if he's able to do some real damage this time. Nade tossed deep. Is it going to soar far enough? That one just bounced off the ridgeline and went right. The third one wasn't good either. Alpha staying alive.
A little bit of defense there for Alpha, keeping them in this thing, but Falcons, they're not going to stick around and wait. They're going to go ahead and push, because why not? They're comfortable. They feel good about making the final stage. Let's see if we can clear these guys out. Tycon just spamming flashbangs, hoping for the best as Kickstart will lead with the Panzerfaust. Doesn't get the knock somehow. Tycon still alive as Myth is going to spot out Gen G in the field on the cut line. Gen G is down to 1.
Yeah, let's jump on over. I think
ジェンジーが落ちちゃったら、ジェンジーが足切りラインになるから24。落ちたジェンジー。Oh my god! 24ポイント。ペロあと1ポイント、まあ、2ポイント取れば。
Knocked one.
Wow.
Okay, let's run it down on the right. Should be two standing. Low, low. It's the last guys on the coast, I think. Yeah, it's coast guy. You get a res take. Car, bro. Oh my god.
楽しんでるね。
Hey, the things you can do.
うわ、ジェンジーこれ落ちそうだな。これジェンジーも落ちるな。これラストマッチです。今日のラストマッチ。T1 は敗退です。もう来週のサバイバルステージから。
So he's out of the fight temporarily. Tiggleton confirms out Thanawat, but Sharper have made a play that should secure them into the finals weekend. But Tig is not done yet. He's peeking over the side. They're above him though. 22 damage. 3 fires around the side. Tiggleton is just better. And LFP helped them out. America's helping Americas. And Falcons pick up 4 kills. But there's one Alpha player left.
And Mortar's filing in the... From nowhere, Simon T down to half HP, tried to make the run across the road. He had a little bit of time to do that. Tiggleton will just drop the flashbang in there to keep him confused for the time being. No offensive utility in the bag as Tiggleton is just on the clock right now, having to deal with Sharper and now having to deal with Simon T. Will spot out the head, won't be able to get the shots in, pushes through. Tig will win it. 5 kills now for Falcons, and that cut line is starting to look really, really low.
Pero took a knock there from Himas as well as anyone's legend looked to bring the pressure onto them. They jumped above Gen G now, who will not be playing
27ポイント超えれば
either will the 4 Angry Men or T1 or NAVI. So the question now is, can Myth, Tyloo or even
うわこれミサ上がったっぽいな。これ上がったっぽいな。
climb into 8th place. Pero's position on the north though. If they can deal with anyone's legend here, Paro, Myth become the only real problem for them then.
I'm swear to God, I'm starting to think that Myth might have some Erangel plot armor because they are just, this is 2 days in a row now where they are leaving it all the way to the final game of the day, and they get some circle fortune going their way. They've got the compound, they've got 4 alive. Let's see if they can get a few more points to hop them up above that cut line. As Sololzi, 9 kills for ALAG. They dispatched with supers and got some guys back on their feet, and now they're putting their attention over towards Petrichor Road, but the mortars are coming from Petrichor as well.
自分たちのポジションとして打ってる
Legend 55 points, 9 kills by the way this game so far. So remember what I said about the teams at the cutoff point. You want the teams at the very top and the teams at the very bottom to pick up points. Godlike have got themselves up to 12 now, but 13 extra points is very, very, very unlikely to be found in this one, despite them having a good compound and dog food. I still think that Myth are the team to watch here. Petrichor Road have got Tyloo beside them. They've got anyone's legend beside them. Myth are entrenched in the center of the circle, and you know what they like to do on the last map of the day.
Could be dangerous stuff. I'd love to see Myth in that final stage. That is a phenomenal team which has had so much success this year. It has not been a good week for them so far, but all will be forgiven if they're able to pull this off here in the end. As you see, Petrichor Road still just playing with that high ground. Lots of space to work around. They are above the cut line by 1 point. Stand to gain even more if they can get rid of Tyloo here at the end.
Yeah, Tyloo, they know that they can put themselves in the running if they deal with Petrichor Road. Because if Petrichor Road fall down, that's 25 points, then becomes the lowest cutoff mark for these teams to try reach. The first nade from 04 though was exactly what it needed to be. If he can just confirm out this kill, they just want for Petrichor Road, just get above the expendables. Get to 27. That kill is confirmed now. LFP picks up another one for Godlike, pushing them up to 14th place with 14 points. But for Pero, they know if they deal with Tyloo, they're safe.
It is sweat time for the expendables. For Twisted Minds as well. 29 points just does not feel safe right now with so many teams below the cut line right now with still 4 players alive in good position. Tyloo, probably the first one and most likely one to go down here if Petrichor Road can do what they need to do. That grenade gonna sail a little bit wide there, not too well placed from 04MB, and they'll just retreat back. They know the Tyloo's here, but that blue zone is starting to come in.
Yeah, this is bad for Petrichor Road. Anyone's legend have started pushing from the north, and that might just emphasize Tyloo, encourage them to push up from the south, because you know that at best you're in a 2-2 fight. He mass and destroy the front line, and good nade here could be curtains. It does a ton of damage. You'll see I-26 sprint through the next nade. This one's going to land right at his feet. He's going to fall, and anyone's legend bringing the fight, and Tyloo have to push. This is the best chance Tyloo could get to wipe out one of the rivals.
It's the only chance Tyler's going to get to even stay in this game while catching Petrichor Road. Twisted, nicely done there by Chewy. Will take down, destroy, and oh, you got to push here, Tyler. You got to go. Looks like One Dragon and King Kong are starting to make their move, but Petrichor Road, they're staying alive.
Yeah, the expendables there on the cutoff now at 27 points. Lee speaking up from that side, trying to flush out this kill. Chewy sees Hemas. Chewy gets one, and that's another knock for Petrichor Road. 2 players up for anyone's legend. This could be this for them. Sololzi moving on over. He's going to go into that dip. Hemas feeding information over, but the blue zone at his back is going to funnel them into Chewy's line sights.
And Tyloo is just being so cautious about this. They finally will come over at the right time.
いやー、出た。もういい。もう上がった。
He takes down all of anyone's legend. And now Tyloo is going to lose too. K-Kong, the last player left alive. Somehow, some way. Petrichor Road with their backs against the wall.
意地を見したね。
So there is 4 extra points for the win compared to second, plus 7 players left alive. There is an opportunity for Godlike, but it's a very slim one. But they need to up the aggression now. The problem for them is they're on the wrong side of the action here. But look, they're the wrong side. Godlike have to go through Myth to get to Petrichor Road. Petrichor Road are going to move towards Myth. Godlike need to clear Myth and need to do it now if they want to qualify, but I just don't see it happening.
It's not. They're just backed up against the wall. Myth is just in better position. They've got Haven pinned up against the blue. He can't move. He's going to try to
ギリギリだね。
maybe
ツイスト
wrap
とワイン
around
ズ
a little bit more. You hear the shots coming from Baron.
多分
Haven
上がっ
will
たと
try
思
to
うけど。
find some angle here.
マジでギリギリ。
Drops the smoke down to keep himself concealed. But this is good for Pero. As Haven going to go down. That is Blue Zone doing a bunch of damage and will manage to get inside. But LFP can't go for that.
この1ポイントでかいぞ。
Actually, no, Jacob gonna steal it away. So another point picked up by MiTH.
いやー、これ5トライクは無理だね。
Just enough to get them above the cut line.
Yeah, the Expendables just sweating right now. One more point will tie them level with the Expendables, and with MiTH finding a lot of placement points on their day, they might just get across. Petrichor Road crashing in. If one player falls here, it's over for Godlike. Jacob gets Chewy. Kiss gets Ming Ming. There's one player left for Petrichor Road, and Made in Thailand, they're going to Saturday. Godlike can no longer make it, but can they at least get a chicken dinner to finish their day?
And your heart breaks for the Expendables. They had a shot, but it just was not enough.
この8チームが明日からの2日
final game, striking once again as MiTH is going to
で昨日勝った8チームはアドバンテージポイントをもらえる。順位ポイントみたいに。順位ポイントみたいなのをもらえる。グランドファイナルの初日から。
The big difference with this one, though, is it will be enough to get them through to playing at the weekend. Yesterday wasn't. Fana will take down Jacob, but Made in Thailand take the chicken dinner. They advance to Saturday, and they
だいぶ勝率いいぞ。
speak about the
より方
Eli Manning level
確かに寄ってはいる。ミス寄ったらめっちゃ強い。
They say that dry land is not a myth, but circle luck definitely is, because these guys caught that compound over and over and over again, and what a time to do it. What was that you said, Poro? It's like they got a plot hole guaranteed to get MiTH through in the last game. It seems to be real at this point.
Game 5, Erangel plot armor. I think I can't even speak anymore. But I mean, look, I know MiTH is happy that they've made it, but they're definitely not happy about how they had to do it. They are leaving themselves and their fans sweating bullets until the final kill is counted. But they do manage to clutch it out this time. Fantastic work by them once again. But we've got some big names that did not make this final stage, Toffees.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. The big takeaway here is that it is setting a really tough standard. Teams like NAVI not getting to the last day of play is really shocking to me, Gibson. In fact, a lot of these teams that got knocked out are just, maybe it's a shift in PUBG. Maybe the era of the classics are sort of falling off.
Maybe, but like in the last 18 months, have Navi always felt feast or famine? Like they're either challenging to win the event or they're kind of sitting back watching everybody else do it. This time around, I just don't think anything worked. I think they made a good choice to third-party T1, but they just got wiped from that point. Like the fact that you let the two players of T1 clear you out ruined your day. Even Twisted Minds, though, like we speak about them being low, survival stage and losers bracket demons. They squeaked into the weekend. Like they were only a couple of points away from going out.
All right, let's take a look. I keep waiting for the leaderboard to update for me so I can see this. I know MiTH got through, but I need to know who's on the bottom because there are some really big shocks in terms of how today went, who got to advance. Teams that were absolutely dominating over the course of EWCs or PGS in the first round are barely making it through. I mean, yes, MiTH gets through, but Poro, if you compare this MiTH to the last section of PGS's MiTH, it's like a night and day.
Yeah, it's really weird. We're not seeing the consistency from MiTH that we saw. It feels like they're a lot more at risk to these hard shifts and just bad circles. Like it felt like for a while there we were seeing them whenever they were in bad spots, they would still somehow manage to fight their way out of it and still just get a boatload of points. But it just hadn't been the case so far. They did find success in the final games of these last 2 days, but we haven't seen that translate into any form of consistency.
Speaking of fighting your way out of a hard point or hard spot and finding points, matchup that take play was sick. True. Scappy and Baron really carrying the lion's share of this. And I think that the key to take away from that last section is Tiggleton's play was so impressive that it took the words right out of our mouths, right? There's nothing to say about how good that play was. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Matt. It's wild how good these guys are.
Everybody just knows. I don't need to say anything about it. Shout out to Sharper. They found consistency at the end. Tig finding a big play for himself, and that's a big motivator in and of itself. But again, I shout out to Myth for making it through. Shout out to also Sharper for finding success, and Destroy being a man of the match for anyone's legend. All right.
Get to the leaderboard. Stop it. Get me there. Come on, I gotta know. Great for the man of the match. Good to see him coming up. I think, honestly, Myth had a great spot in the middle of the circle. Petrichor looking on that high ground for a second, like they might come down and dominate. And there was a world where I thought for just a moment, what if Godlike denies and then Petrichor gets the shift and Myth were to miss it by a couple, right? Because they really did win that on the consistency of that circle puts them, they could sit in a bathroom and still have enough points to advance on this one. As far as that bottom race goes, we saw Tyloo get knocked out. T1 being eliminated also was kind of a shock to me in terms of how we've seen them do some stuff this year. Alpha Gaming struggling to advance, not getting the points that they were hoping for is also a very big letdown. But if you look at that in-game totals, Godlike walked away with 13, but again, too little too late. Maybe it does give them a breath of fresh air as they prepare to move forward into next week as they have to sit and watch everyone play. Petrichor moving in third and Anyone's Legend getting 12 are both great totals. T1 tried as hard as they could to get those points. Putting 8 on the board is respectable, but not enough, because in a second we're going to show you the overall leaderboard. I don't want to ask a question right now because I know we're about to get the scores. So I want to know who makes the advance to the top 8, because that sitting at home watching for the next 7 days is absolutely brutal. There's your cut line. Twisted Minds is the line at 29. Gam the Expendables just barely misses it at 27. Gen G falls out at 24. I was worried that was going to happen. Alpha, Tyloo, and on down from there. What's your take on the board, Matt?
Okay, start off with the Expendables, man. This is a squad that we know has firepower, but has also been kind of struggling with that mid-game section of it and really trying to figure out a way to capitalize off of that. Gen G, who's had a couple of opportunities as far as positioning going, I don't understand how that squad just doesn't find 30 points on the day off of frags alone, man. That's the big one that really confuses me. You can say stuff about similar things with T1, but the big standout is NAVI just feels lost in this.
They do. I don't know what. There's nothing we could ID watching that pour. Like, I didn't see any changes necessarily. It was just they just weren't clicking.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. Hopefully Alrain saw something that they can fix, because I'll be honest with you, Navi not making this final stage is, with the talent on that squad, is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
All right, let's talk about who. Let's talk about who did make it, right? Because there are some exciting teams that have entered the fray. Sharper Esports, they made the pass. They're going to be in the winner's bracket tomorrow. Good for them. We got Vitality, who looked pretty good. Petrichor rising up at the end. And Made in Thailand, despite the slow start, ended up in 4th on the day off of that last game. So really anything can happen in these 5-game series. The good news, Gibson, is that changes starting here soon. We're moving to 12 gears. Sorry,
to the post-match interview here. We're having Tiggleton with us. Congratulations on advancing to the finals, especially. It's been a roller coaster ride in these 3 days matches in PJ7, and now you're heading into the finals. How do you feel right now?
We're feeling really good. Obviously, we got 16th yesterday in the winners bracket, but I think PUBG has a lot of variance, so that type of thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
Gustav last night was kind of like, guys, I think you're just not giving me good feedback because you like me too much. You guys need to be honest. And we were like, just keep going the way you are, man. Like, it's going to go better. And I guess that was today.
Yeah, real man comms. This helps a lot. And the next one is about what was the biggest turning points for you over these 3 days? Maybe the Gustav talk is turning point. Any turning point in games?
The results don't really reflect it. There wasn't really a turning point. We've just been consistent with our approach. And then yesterday was kind of a fluke bad day, I think.
All right. The last one is, like, the PGC points are doubled in PJ7, so do you have any, like, target on earning the PGC points? How many PGC points you're gonna earn in the finals?
To be honest, I haven't really looked at it, but I know that, like, we're just gonna play our best no matter what. Earning the Americas region an extra slot for PGC would be big.
Yes, of course. And can you, like, do the could you please do that like hyper Falcons war dance to finish this interview?
We are Falcons.
Thank you for doing
これ
that.
ファルコンダン
Awesome.
ス
Alright, that's all for the interview. See you guys in the finals. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good for Jinxie, continuing the tradition that Bella started of asking Tiggleton to do awkward things on stage. And he does it every time. God bless that man. He's willing. You know, the biggest streamer in the game absolutely plays just for the love of it still. And is willing to goof off and do that anytime that you ask him. I gotta give props, and this is just on a side note, to Tiggleton for his commitment and his love of the game. Because as much as you might hate him or whatever the Falcons haters out there
これ
love
で
to pick
集まっ
at,
たね
Tig
16
has
チーム
been
明
a
日から
bastion
2
of
日
awesome in terms of PUBG Esports for a very long time. So
Finally.
glad to have him. Wonderful when he came over. Great to see the Falcons having a good game. But let's talk about it. End of the day has come. We've seen a lot of big teams drop to the bottom that we didn't expect to be down there. And a lot of teams surprise us as they moved up to the top. I think we can all agree NAVI is a pretty big disappointment that they got to get fixed together. Let's focus on surprises, though. Gibson, who are you excited about seeing go into the finals tomorrow?
I think I'm excited to see what Supers are going to do. Like, they had a really bad start to this week. I think both them and Sharper were the bottom two teams in groups. Things looked really bad, and they really turned things around. I think Supers did a lot of good things today. Yes, the lobby gets tougher tomorrow, but I think for Korea, they want to see their teams do the best they possibly can, particularly whenever they go to China. So I want to see if Supers can turn up the action and continue to find form tomorrow.
Nice. All right, I'm getting word that it's time for us to wrap up, and it's early in the morning, so I'm sure a lot of our folks would love for us to get gone. The production team probably pretty tired right now. So I like to do final thoughts before we call it. We're going to be back tomorrow with even more action, but before we get there, Poro, what's your take?
I'm excited to see what the final looks like. You see 17 going in there with the 10 points to start off just because of how successful they were in the winter stage. I think that's going to be huge, especially for a squad that did not have a lot of success in EWC. So we'll see if Virtus Pro can kind of find that footing once again to after getting the championship at EWC and fight their way back up to the side. But good work by the teams in survival stage. That was a brutal 5 games today.
It absolutely was. Matt, final thoughts?
I mean, whenever we look at this, we've been talking about the squads that didn't qualify. I mean, we got the Expendables, 4 Angry Men, T1, Navi, Genji, Commodibles that we know about. That talks about the strength of the lobby and what we've been seeing coming into the stage. If anything, this weekend, these next 2 days are going to be absolutely cataclysmic as far as these firefights are going to go and how it's all going to shake out. Shout out to Sharper for climbing through, but I've really got my eyes out of everybody today. Petrichor Road, man. Petrichor Road just keeps playing cleaner and cleaner, and I want to see what they're going to be able to do this weekend.
Love it. Gibson, final thoughts?
Every single day saw massive shakeups in the top 4, but the only team that was consistent every day they played was E-Arena. I want to see if they can really bounce back after losing Jacob at the start of the year. Let's see if E-Arena can get going this weekend.
So you're saying lots of shakeups, but a dominating Jacobs, as EA has looked incredibly good. I will say this, while we saw some great teams play today, wow, loved what Falcons did, it was still the survival stage. And as Poro astutely pointed out, tomorrow when we arrive here, the teams that got through in the top 8 have a point advantage. 17 is going in 10 points up on their competitors. And that is a very difficult lead to get above, even with 10 games in the hopper. It is going to be a wild 2 days of PUBG as some of the best teams and biggest surprises in PUBG Esports are preparing to drop in and make Orangle an absolute chaos monster in Game 1. My name is Toffees. This is Matchroom, Gibson, Porosaurus. On behalf of all of us, as well as production, Crafton, and every single player involved, thank you so much for spending your day with us, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until we do, play more PUBG.
いやいいねまだもうメタがもう凝り固まってるねみんなファルコンズと戦ってももう違ってきたけどそれでは今日の配信はこのハイライトが終わったら終わります今日も一緒に見ていただきありがとうございます。また明日からファイナルズなんで一緒に見ましょう。また明日よろしくお願いします。さよなら。
Got a son, don't hurt you mad. I don't really wanna understand.
열심히 뛰어봐 나는 놈이고 몇 발치 앞에서 해줄게 인사 반응도 못해다 쓰러져 도미노 원인 I'm fair game yes I'm 신사 기상 pack it up 팀사 팀상 shoot it up 비상 산책 가듯이 눈에 티 탐이 판에 so boring 내가 할 말은 peace out
Locked and loaded like my gun, you toted. Take me to the battle, my team, you know it. Sky's pitch black, we pull up and blow it. I'm all day with it, no, I never get off it. Everywhere I go is drama, all the boys I gift the trauma. Diamonds spoon stir up to pot, pretty face, don't let it fool ya. They say I paid making me really wanna. Now gotta pave the way, they'll never walk
Got
on.
a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with them fakes. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again.
So tired of hates and comments. Why you got no sense that's common? Talk the beef get cooked like ramen. I just make gala and I dress her up with diamonds. I know what I know, I don't bargain. You can price me, look at all my garments. 나는 놈 위에 있는 놈이 난데 채널 고정해 5번으로 내 향이 남네. 난 got a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with them fakes. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again, I don't partake. Got a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with them fakes. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again, I don't partake. They wanna see me in a shiny flash. Got this hella pretty face. Got us something dope, hurt you mad. I don't really wanna understand. Got a missile aim, got a pretty face. I don't partake with them fakes. I don't like that, you heard me say. Repeat again.
Sat him down and raise a bargain. I beg your pardon. Caution, new flame, I make him nauseous. I'm all in this, my homemade for auction. One of them breaking next, make him get the double take. When I